This is an intermission without shortcuts, and this is an intermission with shortcuts. Hello all, I'm Benramen, and this is one shortcut for every intermission in Mario Kart World. Intermissions in this game have been getting quite a bit of hate, as many people tend to see them as soulless, uncreative, and just plain boring. Well, I, Benramen, subscribe please, I'm here to change the public perception of these courses through this series and start an intermission revolution. This is one shortcut for every intermission. Also, I have a cool jacket. Mario Bros circuit to Wario Stadium. You can charge jump off this rock to send yourself flying and skip this large turn. Right before you get to this item set, start a charge jump and move a little to the left. After getting an item, use your mushroom right before the off-road and aim for this stone. Release your charge jump at the tail end of the stone and finally land back on the road. I've seen this shortcut save about 1.5 seconds over using a mushroom normally. That might not sound like a lot, but for context, Shortcut claims that the Bowser's Castle sign bounce shortcut saves about 3 seconds, so this shortcut saves about half the time of one of the most important shortcuts in the game. Look at you, thinking this shortcut didn't save a lot of time. Mario Bros circuit to Toad's factory. If you grab this helicopter, it actually runs out at the perfect time for you to run into this truck. At about this point on the course, make sure that you are in first, because then you have the highest chance of getting the helicopter. Drive into this building here and get into the helicopter. Aim for the truck, which you should be able to see off in the distance. Once the helicopter spits you out, aim for the back of the truck and get in. Drive across some off-road with the truck to save some time, and then you're pretty much done. This shortcut is important because not only does it save you about 1.5 to 2 seconds, it also provides you with invincibility when you're in the helicopter or the truck, protecting you from blue shells, lightning, and practically everything else. So you could end up saving way more than 2 seconds if you're lucky enough to get a shock dodge or something like that. Mario Bros circuit to Choco Mountain. This is a very good one. You know the big annoying chocolate section from intermissions leading to Choco Mountain? Well, you can bypass a huge section of that without using a single mushroom. Start by taking the left path. I was just using my mushrooms up for the shortcut. Please never use your mushrooms like this in an actual race. Then begin a charge jump and aim for this tiny pole over here. Release a left charge jump into the pole and start a wall ride on this colored barricade. Wait to detach and go on top of the wall, then simply trick off onto the ground. Now, I'm not sure, but I think that this shortcut found by Sekujo MKW could be an absolute game changer for this intermission. Whereas this connected course is usually a heavy bagging track, when you use this shortcut, which can save about 2 seconds, it is very possible that this course could become quite a bit better for shrooming or front running. It is important to note that this shortcut does skip an item set, so just factor that in if you want to go for it. Mario Bros circuit to Crown City. You can skip this entire turn with only one mushroom thanks to these poles and flags. Start by charge jumping onto this rail while making sure to touch this boost pad if you can. I jumped on it pretty late in this clip. It's a little bit faster, but it'll still work otherwise. After jumping on the rail, trick right to hit this pole and then hit this cactus. When you hit the ground, use your mushroom and align yourself with the flag on the left. Try and trick off this mound. I didn't do it here, but trust me, it works. And then trick off the flag to land on the ground. This saves quite a good amount of time in the first lap of the race, which can be very good if you're front running or shrooming. Also, if you're wondering why I didn't put this shortcut in the video, the one where you fly down and grab the dashed food and you fly over the mound and back on the rails, and it's really creative and stuff, and it's really popular. That's because it's a full 4 seconds slower than just driving on the ground and using no items whatsoever. Yeah, so don't use that shortcut. It's trash. Mario Bros circuit to Whistlestop Summit. You can use mushrooms to get to this glider, then to this rail, then to this rock, then to this cactus, then back on the road. Just after you pass this item set, start a charge jump and aim for this glider. Just as you're entering the off-road, use a mushroom, and at the very tail end of the boost, release your charge jump and land on the glider. Once you're in the glider, start aligning yourself with this rail and eventually land on it. At the end of the rail, trick to the left, and then shortly after you hit the ground, use another mushroom. Trick off of this stone, bounce on the cactus, and get back on the road. This shortcut saves about 2 seconds, which is quite good, and also makes this intermission an even better one for front running than it already was, just because of how good Whistlestop Summit already is for front running. I love how creative this game is because it not only is made very creatively, it forces the player to be very creative as well. Mario Bros Circuit to Desert Hills. You can skip 2 big off-road sections right as you enter the backwards variant of Desert Hills. Start by holding R to begin a charge jump, then use a mushroom just before touching the off-road. At the end of your mushroom boost, release your charge jump and start drifting to the right immediately so that you can have a chance at an orange mini turbo. When you get to the next piece of off-road, use your mushroom, and once you see orange sparks, release your drift as quickly as you can, even if you're not out of the off-road, and then you've done the shortcut. The tricky thing about this shortcut is timing the end of the final mini turbo correctly. If you do it too soon or too late, you could be left in the dirt and the shortcut would have been pretty much worthless. But if you get it right, you've managed to save some decent time and look pretty cool while doing it. And finally, Mario Bros Circuit to Shy Guy Bazaar. Cutting off these 2 off-road patches can save you up to about 7 seconds. That is more than double the Bowser's Castle sign bounce shortcut. By the way, just so you know, when I say this shortcut saves this amount of time, that's comparing to using a normal path but using the same amount of items. This shortcut saves 7 seconds over just using triple mushrooms normally. Start by drifting so that you're pretty much parallel with this wall. Then start your charge jump and use your mushroom into the off-road. Release your charge jump with a right trick and latch onto the wall. Wait to detach from the wall and start the bus is just in the way. Okay, and start aiming for this cactus. Start another charge jump, mushroom into the off-road, release your charge jump when you're on top of the rock, and trick off of the cactus. Again, I love how many random trickable cactuses there are in this game. After you trick off the cactus, drive in the off-road for a second, then use a mushroom and start a charge jump in quick succession. Release the charge jump at the end of the boost, and if you made it back on the road, then you have done the shortcut. This shortcut and other shortcuts around it absolutely revolutionized this intermission. I haven't actually tested it online, but I have practically no doubt whatsoever that this is going to become one of the strongest front-running or shrooming intermissions. If you'd like, test it out online and tell me how it goes in the comments. I would genuinely love to know if it works well or not. Thank you. Crown City to Choco Mountain. You can cut off this large grass patch with only 2 mushrooms, which saves a good amount of time. As you approach this item set, start drifting to the left and then start a charge jump. Shroom into the off-road and do a left charge jump into the tree. Align yourself with a drive-through and start another charge jump. Use your mushroom, then release your charge jump into this stake and get back to the road. This shortcut is a little risky as there are several catastrophic ways you can fail it, but overall it saves some good time, and if you had triple mushrooms when you pulled it off, then it puts you in the front of the pack with a mushroom, which I think can actually be a pretty decent strategy for a bagging track like Choco Mountain. Please don't quote me on that, I have no idea. Sorry if you lose because of me. Crown City to Moo Moo Meadows. You can execute this really cool parkour sequence with only 1 mushroom. Start by charge jumping onto this grind rail, then quickly trick off to the right. Hold right and hit this small light, then keep holding right. Go onto this wall, detach from it, and trick off of the bottom of this tree. After going in the off-road, start another charge jump, wait for just a moment, then use your mushroom. Bust past these barricades, then at the end of the boost from the mushroom, release your charge jump into this tree. After hitting the off-road again, awkwardly bump down this gate, then you're done. This shortcut saves about 1.5 seconds, which is quite good, but it's also just a lot of fun to pull off. I suggest learning this shortcut either if you're looking for a time save, or if you're just looking for a fun bit of parkour. There's a longer triple mushroom variant of this shortcut on Astral Nick's channel, so I suggest you go check that out. Crown City to Peach Stadium. You can cut off a good portion of this turn with this really easy shortcut. Begin by starting a charge jump and aligning yourself with this tree right here. Grab an item, bounce on the tree, and get onto the rooftop. Drive to the right of this line for a moment so that Lakitu doesn't pick you up, then start turning left and trick off onto the ground. While this shortcut isn't exactly the revolutionary time save that a lot of other intermissions have, the good thing about it is that it's so incredibly easy that there's basically no reason not to go for it unless you're bagging. The only thing to really worry about is Lakitu, the absolute demonic spawn. Crown City to Faraway Oasis. This shortcut can save about 3 seconds and only requires 2 mushrooms. Start by aiming for this rock. Then use a mushroom and trick off of the top of the rock. Get back to the road and start a charge jump. Use your second mushroom just as you get to the off-road, then left trick just as you get to this tree. Then just get back to the road and you've done the shortcut. Like I said, this shortcut saves around 3 seconds and it really isn't that hard either. So if you get triple mushrooms, I'd say that it's worth going for almost every time. Crown City to Koopa Troopa Beach. You can do this crazy charge jump that skips this big turn. Start by beginning a charge jump and aiming just to the right of this cone here. Mushroom into the off-road and release a right trick into the wall. And yeah, that's kinda all there is to it actually. While this shortcut of course does save a fairly good amount of time, and while there is a version of the shortcut that uses dash food, which does make front running a bit more viable, and I might go over that shortcut in a future video, I honestly don't think that this shortcut makes front running worthwhile for this intermission. If anything, it actually makes bagging more worthwhile since this shortcut requires a mushroom. Crown City to DK Spaceport. You can bounce on this pole and cut off almost 3 seconds through the off-road. As you approach this item, start a charge jump and aim for this pole right here. Release a left charge jump into the pole and get on top of the wall. Hold left, shroom through the off-road, and trick off onto the ground. This shortcut saves a very good amount of time with only 1 mushroom and is the perfect shortcut for when you want to do some item smuggling, which I've actually found to be a very good strategy on DK Spaceport. This shortcut not only saves time, but it's very applicable to the course that you're going to. Crown City to Whistlestop Summit. You can save 2 seconds by simply driving on these train tracks. After this item set, drive over to this path on the right. Drive over this ramp and get on the train tracks. Do some tricks and that's it. All you need to do then is jump off towards the glider panel and you are done. This incredibly easy shortcut saves you about 2 seconds and it doesn't even skip an item set or anything, so there is practically no reason for you to ever not take this shortcut. Crown City to Desert Hills. There's a secret glider over here that can save you a whopping 3 seconds. That's the same amount of time that the Bowser's Castle lava skip shortcut can save you. As you approach this turn, start a charge jump and then hop onto this rail. Trick left onto this pipe and then trick off of this rock. When you hit the ground, quickly use your mushroom and start a charge jump at about the same time. Release your charge jump onto this wall, then trick off onto the glider. After that, your hard work is done and you get to float down to the ground with the glider. Although the backwards variant of Desert Hills is a bit of a bagging track, the amount of time that this shortcut saves could make shrooming a very practical alternative, probably even a better one. So take that, bagging. Crown City to Mario Bros Circuit. You can use a feather to get to this rail and cut off this large turn. At the entrance to Mario Bros Circuit, drift into the pit lane and start a charge jump. When you're in line with about the middle of this rail, release a left charge jump onto the rail. Do a neutral trick off of the rail, use your feather, and do another trick in the air. Get onto this top rail, wait for a moment, and at this very specific point, do a neutral trick off of the rail and hold right in the air. If you bounced on this pole, then congrats, you've done the shortcut. This shortcut is very tricky and it doesn't even save that much time, only about a second, but it is very satisfying and you can get the item used to do it in first place, and at the end of the day, time is time, I guess. Crown City to Wario Stadium. You can use dash food to skip this off-road section. To set up this shortcut, you need to grab dash food either from this drive-thru or from this food truck. The food truck is faster, but if it's not safe to take that, then you can still take the drive-thru. Then once you're at this next drive-thru, start a charge jump and aim for this rail. Get on the rail and immediately trick to the right. Use your dash food through the off-road, trick off of this ramp, trick off of this stone, and get back on the road. Because you don't have to slow down to get the dash food, this shortcut is very good for front running. This makes this intermission overall a good front running track because of how good Wario Stadium is for front running. Whistlestop Summit to Desert Hills. You can cut off this large turn, which saves about 2 seconds without even using a single mushroom. After you take this turn, start a charge jump and line yourself up with the right side of this pole. Release a left charge jump into the pole and get onto this wall. If you're struggling to latch onto the wall, a tip that I found useful is to go a lot further to the left than I subconsciously think that I should. Once you get on the wall, trick off of it and then trick off of this rock. After tricking off the rock, trick off this ledge and you're done. I found that this shortcut can save around 2 seconds over taking the turn normally, which is amazing if you're planning to front run. I found out about this shortcut through the YouTube channel MK Matthew. He does a lot of really good shortcut videos, so be sure to check him out. Whistlestop Summit to Mario Bros. Circuit. This incredibly precise shroomless shortcut is really satisfying to pull off. After you pass the last item set of Mario Bros. Circuit, get onto this precise line, aiming just to the right of this grey piece of metal. Once you're at the rail, turn just slightly to the right at the last second and trick fairly late. Aim for the left side of this Banana Boy poster and get onto the wall. Wait to detach from the top of the Mario Motors ad, then do a right air trick and get to this top rail. Ride this rail for a bit, then just before you get to this grey wire, trick off to the left onto this green rail. At the end of the green rail, trick straight off of it and then you've done the shortcut. This shortcut saves some good time, and because it's in every intermission going to Mario Bros. Circuit, except the one from Guy Bazaar, it can be very useful to get good at it. Yes, this shortcut is incredibly risky, and there are many different ways you can fail it, but I personally think that that's kind of what makes it fun. Super special thanks to Bolt for sharing this shortcut with me. I think it might be one of my favorite intermission shortcuts in the whole game, even though I'm probably not gonna ever do it successfully because I'm really bad at it. If you want to see a bunch of other great shroomless shortcuts for intermissions, check out this awesome video by Bolt. I highly recommend it. Whistlestop Summit to Choco Mountain. You can use one mushroom to cut off this giant gap and save over 3 seconds. As you leave Whistlestop Summit, charge up and release an orange mini turbo and then start a charge jump. Get onto this rail at about this point, and once you get to this pole, trick to the left and bounce on it. Once you get to the off-road, use a mushroom, trick off of this ledge, and you're pretty much done. This shortcut saves a ridiculous amount of time super early in the race, and if you got triple mushrooms in the first set, then you have an extra 2 mushrooms to dodge blue shells and take other shortcuts. This shortcut is quite literally perfect for shrooming, which is sick and awesome, and I love it, and it's great, and it's awesome. I found out about this shortcut through the YouTuber J9, who has an entire video about the top 10 intermission shortcuts, so I suggest you check that out in the description and tell him I sent ya. Whistlestop Summit to Crown City. Cutting off this large turn can save you a good amount of time. This shortcut is very simple. After this turn, continue charging up your mini turbo, get onto this rail and trick right off of it pretty much immediately. Get on the ground just after the water and then simply mushroom through the off-road. This shortcut definitely isn't the most complicated, but it can certainly save you a good amount of time, and you don't even skip an item set when doing it. So I recommend going for this shortcut if you're wanting to get an early lead, rather than if you're wanting to make a comeback later in the course. Whistlestop Summit to Koopa Troopa Beach. You can skip a big part of the off-road without using any items. As you exit Whistlestop Summit, start a charge jump and aim for this rock. Release the charge jump and trick off of the top of the rock. Get onto this wall, detach from it, do some tricks in the air to get some speed back, and get back to the road. This shortcut can give you an edge on your opponents right at the start of the race, which is exactly what you want when front running. Special thanks to Ethereal Maddie for submitting this shortcut. They go into a lot more detail than I do, so please go check out their video in the description. Whistlestop Summit to DK Spaceport. You can shroom off of this rock to cut off this large grass section. When approaching this item set near the entrance to DK Spaceport, drift to the left and grab the double item box. Use your mushroom through the off-road, hold hard left for a moment and trick off of the stone. Then just get back to the road and you've done the shortcut. Although this shortcut is simple, it saves some good time and is very safe to take even if you've never practiced it. If you're wanting a faster, more difficult and less safe version of the shortcut, then check out this video of mine in the description. Hey,
I'll be honest, it's kind of just a better version of this shortcut, so you should probably check it out.
DK Spaceport to Whistlestop Summit. You can shroom and charge jump to this rock to cut off this turn. As you get close to this item set near the entrance to Whistlestop Summit, drift to the left and then start a charge jump. Use a mushroom into the off-road, release your charge jump, trick off this rock, and you've done the shortcut. This shortcut saves a great amount of time right at the end of the second lap, so if you plan to do some shrooming, then this is an excellent shortcut to get good at. This shortcut also works well because I think Whistlestop Summit is a really good front-running course, so to start the final lap of that course in first place is not a bad idea at all. DK Spaceport to Desert Hills. This simple shortcut can save a significant amount of time. Now, this is another less complicated shortcut, but trust me, we'll get to more complicated and more fun ones very soon. This shortcut is quite easy. As you leave DK Spaceport, drift to the right and use a mushroom through the off-road. Try to charge up an orange mini turbo and trick off of the stone. After that, land back in the off-road and get back to the road. This very simple shortcut can save you about 1 second, and it can easily get you ahead of your opponents very early in the race. Plus, this shortcut is actually surprisingly fun to do. It may not be the most parkour heavy, but it still is very satisfying. DK Spaceport to Mario Bros Circuit. You can charge jump off this rock to skip this water section. After this set of coins, chain a trick or two and keep holding R to start a charge jump. Release your charge jump off of this stone, hit this tree, then this wall. Trick off onto the opposing wall and wait to detach from it. Trick to the left a few times and get back to the water. This shortcut is a very good time save, but it's also just a very fun shroomless shortcut to pull off in races. One thing I should mention is that this shortcut does skip an item set, but if you're already in first anyway and you already have some items, then I don't know, it's not really that important anyway. Oh no, what am I gonna do without my singular excess coin? Also, if you're wanting to learn another shortcut for this intermission, then check out this video by Molly Morse. I'll leave a link in the description. DK Spaceport to Crown City. Now this next one is my absolute favorite of the whole video. You can use dash food to ride this secretly inbounds wall. Firstly, grab dash food from this drive-through right before the shortcut. Then after driving around this corner, start a charge jump just before this item set and release it into the tree. Land on top of the wall, then trick off onto the wall itself, making sure that you're not so low that Lakitu can pick you up. Trick once here and once before this cleft in the rock. After that, detach from the wall, use your dash food through the off-road, and you've done the shortcut. This shortcut is one of my favorites, not because of how much time it saves, although it obviously does save time, but more so because of how creative and fun to do it is. When I first found this shortcut, I was really excited to showcase it because it really feels so interesting, and also it just feels like a good showcase of what intermissions can be if you implement the shortcuts. Plus, its use of dash food makes it really good for front running, so, you know, yeah. DK Spaceport to Peach Stadium. You can get this boat and then this helicopter to save over 3 seconds. But even so, this shortcut is surprisingly simple. The main thing you need to do is make sure you're in first or second place by the time you get to the Koopa Troopa Beach finish line. If you're in one of those two placements, then you have by far the best chance at getting into one of those boats. After leaving Koopa Troopa Beach, get into the boat and drive straight through these porky puffers. After you get spat out, keep driving straight and tricking on the water until you get to the helicopter. Simply get in the helicopter, keep driving straight, and you've just saved 3 seconds. This shortcut is incredibly simple, and I think it can be the deciding factor into who wins the race and who loses. Plus, while you're in the helicopter or boat, you remain invincible for over 15 seconds, so blue shells and lightning really aren't a problem. Special thanks to Liam for sharing this shortcut with me. He has a great video on some of the best intermission shortcuts and strategies, so if you're wanting to get better at intermissions, then I'd say this is one of the best videos to watch. DK Spaceport to Koopa Troopa Beach. This ridiculously simple shortcut can save you a full second. At the very start of the race, drift to the right and trick off this ledge. That is literally it. Just drive completely straight until you rejoin the main track, and the shortcut is done. This is probably one of the easiest shortcuts in the entire game, and for it to save a full second is absolutely insane. The only things to worry about are skipped items and not tricking off too early so that Lakitu doesn't pick you up. But aside from that, it's incredibly easy. A monkey could do it. In fact, I reckon that even you could do it. Desert Hills to Shy Guy Bazaar. This very simple shortcut can save you more than 3 seconds. After passing this item set, start a charge jump and aim for this rock. Use your mushroom and release a left charge jump at the peak of the rock. After you get to the ground, use your second mushroom and trick off this small mound. Then just drift through the off-road and you're done. According to my testing, this shortcut saves about 3.5 seconds, which is fantastic if you're shrooming on this course. Plus, there's another version of this shortcut that does save less time but only uses 1 mushroom. So if you don't have 2 mushrooms, then you can still save some decent time with this shortcut. Plus, this shortcut is also doable on the intermission from Mario Bros. Circuit to Shy Guy Bazaar, making that intermission even better for shrooming than it was before. Desert Hills to Mario Bros. Circuit. You can get up to this rail with no items. As you enter Mario Bros. Circuit, drift into the pit lane and start a charge jump. Aim for the 3rd sign from the end and release your charge jump. Land on top of the sign, trick off, hit the pole, get on the wall, and trick off onto the rail. Trick off the rail into the pole, land on the ground, get on this new rail, trick left, trick right, and you're done. This is a very complicated shortcut, but it is very rewarding as it does save 1.5 seconds over going around, as well as just feeling super satisfying. This shortcut, which I found out about from Bolt, can be done on any intermission going to Mario Bros. Circuit except the one from Shy Guy Bazaar, so it is a great shortcut to get good at. Unless you are me, in which case you will never be good at it because it is hard. Desert Hills to Crown City. You can use 1 mushroom to cut off this huge off-road patch. While you're in this section with the piranha plants, drift to the right and start a charge jump. Mushroom through the off-road, then release your charge jump into the cactus. After that, land on this rock and trick off of it. When you land, hold R to start a charge jump and release it over the railing. This shortcut saves about 1.3 seconds, it doesn't skip any items, and it's one of the best mushroom spots in the entire intermission, including Crown City itself. Plus, the rooftop variant of Crown City is a decent front-running course, so I would suggest going for this shortcut pretty much every time. Desert Hills to Koopa Troopa Beach. Now, you might be thinking, oh my goodness, he's lost his mind. They should rename this course to the 2nd worst bagging track to the worst bagging track. How in the world are any shortcuts that he finds on this course going to be viable at all? Well, actually, this intermission might not be so bad because any one of these 3 shortcuts can save you an average of more than 3.5 seconds. The first shortcut is the slowest, but it still saves 3 seconds. It's a bit slower than the others only because it requires no items whatsoever. Yeah, that's right. We got a 3-second NISC, baby. So first you want to get a few tricks on the waves, then trick off this rock. Start a charge jump when you land, then trick left onto this rock and trick off of it. Start another charge jump, trick right onto the wall, and detach from it into the water. Special thanks to Sweetie Breezy for finding this shortcut. The second shortcut is a simple mushroom shortcut that can save 3.6 seconds. After passing these water ramps, drift to the left and mushroom through the off-road. Trick off this stone, then this stone, and then you're fully done. Special thanks to Polaritonics for finding this shortcut. The last shortcut is by far the fastest, and it saves a whopping 4.6 seconds. But it's also by far the hardest and requires a bit of luck. Start by tricking off this water ramp, then continuing to hold R as you land in the water to start a charge jump. Mushroom through the off-road, aiming for this Goomba. You'll know this shortcut can work if you use your mushroom just as the Goomba leaves the ground. Release your charge jump and merrily bounce on the Goomba's head, then just get back to the water. Special thanks to Umbreon360 for finding this shortcut. Any one of these 3 shortcuts can absolutely turn the tide of this intermission in your favor. They are absolutely amazing. I can't really think of any reason besides bagging that you wouldn't go for one of these shortcuts every single time. Huge thanks to the 3 creators whose shortcuts I used in this intermission. Please go check them out. Desert Hills to Whistlestop Summit. This 2 mushroom shortcut chain can save a whopping 3 seconds. As you approach this item set, start a charge jump and aim for this pole. Trick straight into the pole, latch onto the wall, and trick off of it. Once you get to the ground, use a mushroom through the off-road while holding hard right. Start a charge jump once you get back to the main road and release it onto this armadillo. Use your second mushroom, then simply hop over the last part of the off-road. This is a great shortcut for when you want to go into Whistlestop Summit, an excellent front-running track with a great lead. Plus, if you got triple mushrooms, then you can do this extra grass shortcut really easily. Shy Guy Bazaar to Airship Fortress. You know this large off-road patch that you can get across if you have a golden dash mushroom? Well, you can cut off that whole turn with only 1 mushroom. After you pass this item set, start a charge jump and release it onto this rail. Trick left onto this rock, then trick off of it. After you get in the off-road, start another charge jump and then use your mushroom. Release it at the peak of this little sand dune, then get onto this wall. Detach from the wall, then get back to the road. This shortcut saves about a second, and it's quite effective if you want to stay ahead of the rest of the pack. Interestingly, this shortcut can also be done with dash food, although the time it saves is slightly smaller. This shortcut can also be done in the heart rally, so it's also a good one to learn if you play knockout tools a lot. Shy Guy Bazaar to Wario Stadium. This really easy dash food shortcut can save you half a second. This is a very simple shortcut. At this point on the course, drift into the Yoshis and grab some dash food. After that, start a charge jump, use the dash food as you enter the off-road, and release your charge jump into the wall. Then just wait to detach and you're done. This is an incredibly easy shortcut that can be great for front running since it only requires dash food. Ultimately, this shortcut won't guarantee that you win a race. After all, it only saves half a second, but it can certainly put you in a good position for Wario Stadium, which is quite a good front-running track. Shy Guy Bazaar to Choco Mountain. This insane shortcut is really satisfying to pull off. Special thanks to Astral Nick for finding this shortcut. As you get to the Choco Island section of this intermission, start a charge jump and align yourself in the line between this pole and the spot just between the green and yellow barricades. I don't really know how to explain it better than that. Release the charge jump into the pole and get on top of the wall. Trick straight onto this next wall and get back to the top of the wall. Go straight along the barricade and trick off onto the mud. Use a mushroom and start a charge jump, then release your charge jump at the end of the mushroom's boost. Use your last mushroom and get back to the road. This shortcut is super complicated and uses up a couple mushrooms, but it's a great time save and just generally super fun. But if you're looking for a shroomless shortcut that can also save a lot of time in this intermission, then check out this short I made about another crazy shortcut. Shy Guy Bazaar to Mario Bros Circuit. You can cut off this giant turn to save more than 3 seconds. After you pass this item set, drift to the left and aim for this rock. Mushroom through the off-road and trick off the rock. Fly through the air and get onto the wall at this specific point. Then detach from the wall, do an air trick to get some speed back, and you're all done. This shortcut may be fairly simple, but the fact that it can be done with only 1 mushroom can give you a heck of a big advantage over your opponents. This shortcut is often taken by baggers, so front running isn't a particularly viable option unless you get lucky and pull a mushroom. But I would argue that shrooming is a much better alternative because it allows you to take this shortcut without falling too far behind or like waiting for lightning to happen. I could, of course, be completely wrong, but hopefully that's not the case. Special thanks to Toby MKW for making a video about this shortcut. They've been working on a kind of one shortcut for every intermission series of their own, so please go check that out if you can. Shy Guy Bazaar to Desert Hills. You can do this precise wall ride to save 2 seconds. After you pass this item set while leaving Shy Guy Bazaar, drift to the right and trick off this hill. Start a charge jump and use a mushroom through the off-road. Release your charge jump onto this specific point on the wall, then detach from it onto the ground. This shortcut may be simple, but it's not that easy, as a bit of precision is needed when lining up to and getting onto the wall. But still, it's quite a good time save and can be very helpful if you're wanting to get ahead early on this intermission. Special thanks to Sekajo MKW for finding this shortcut. I believe they actually stopped making videos recently, so I just want to say a quick thank you for all the great videos. Don't have anything too special to say, so... Farewell, Sekajo MKW! Farewell, my brother in Christ! Wario Stadium to Bowser's Castle. You can charge jump off this rock to barely hit this pole. After crossing this bridge from outside Wario Stadium, start a charge jump and aim for this pole. Use your mushroom into the off-road and release your charge jump at the top of this rock. It is very, very important to release your charge jump at the last moment you possibly can. Aim right for the pole, and if you've done everything correctly, then you'll bounce on the pole and be done. This shortcut saves about half a second if you execute it correctly, and it can get you ahead pretty early in the race. This intermission doesn't have that many great shortcuts, so this shortcut can be fairly essential in terms of getting you ahead for what is pretty much the best front-running track in the game. Wario Stadium to Dry Bones Burnout. This off-road cut can save you almost a full second. After you leave Big Donut and approach this left turn, start a charge jump and aim for this little stone structure. Use a mushroom through the off-road and charge jump off this stone. Hold left a bit and clip this wall, then just get back to the road. This shortcut saves about 0.8 seconds, and it can help you get to the front if you're wanting to front run Dry Bones Burnout. I suggest you give learning this one a try if you often get stuck in the pack in this intermission, because it can really help you get ahead. Special thanks to Sekijor MKW for finding the shortcut. Wario Stadium to Toad's Factory. You can simply bounce off this tree to save 2.5 seconds. As you begin to approach Toad's factory, start a charge jump and align yourself with this tree. Use your mushroom and release your charge jump, then bounce off the tree. Then just get back to the road and you are done. Like I said, this shortcut saves more than 2 seconds over the normal path, but even if other people take a tight turn or something, this still saves a great amount of time. This shortcut was inspired by a short by TCPI0314. I hope I got that right. They have made a ton of great Intermission Revolution videos, so please go check them out. Wario Stadium to Choco Mountain. You can take this crazy wall ride shortcut absolutely shroomless. As you're beginning to approach Choco Mountain, start a charge jump and then release it onto this metal ramp. Trick off of the ramp onto the wall, then detach from the wall. Trick back towards the wall, bonk on the edge of the cliff, and trick towards the wall again. The little bonk on the edge isn't necessary, it's just funny. Detach from the wall again, and you are done. This is a super fun shortcut, and it's a great time save as well, saving about 1.5 seconds. I would really recommend this shortcut if you're wanting to front run Choco Mountain, which is a very bold strategy to say the least, but if you're skilled enough on the track itself, then it's quite possible to win. Special thanks to MK Matthew for finding this shortcut. Wario Stadium to Crown City. This super simple 2 mushroom shortcut can save you over 1.5 seconds. As you approach this turn and begin to clearly see this Yoshi's drive-thru, turn towards the Yoshi's and use your mushroom. Trick off this small rock and use your second mushroom. Trick off the right side of this rock and then just get back to the road. This shortcut is gobsmackingly easy. All you need to do is have mushrooms and you can pretty much just take this shortcut every time. Since the rooftop variant of Crown City is quite good for front running, this makes this intermission an excellent one for shroom. Special thanks to Umbreon360 for finding this shortcut. They've made several fantastic intermission shortcut compilations, so if you want to check out one of those, the link will be in the description. Wario Stadium to Mario Bros Circuit. You can do this insane off-road shortcut shroomless. As you're getting close to Mario Bros Circuit, start a charge jump and aim for this rail. Release your charge jump onto the rail, wait a moment, then trick right into this pole. Trick off this rock and you're done. Although this shortcut skips an item set, if you already have good enough items, then this shortcut is a must use as it saves a whopping 1.5 seconds without requiring any items. This also puts you in a great position for the backwards version of Mario Bros Circuit, which has a few amazing shortcuts for you to learn as well. Special thanks to Sweetie Breezy for finding this shortcut. Wario Stadium to Shy Guy Bazaar. You know this off-road patch near Shy Guy Bazaar that baggers always take? Well, you can cut off that whole section with only 1 mushroom. As you're leaving the Chain Chomp Desert section of the route, start a charge jump and aim for this pole. Release the charge jump into the pole and get onto this wall. Detach from the wall, trick off this ledge and get onto the ground. Start a charge jump, then use your mushroom through the off-road. Release your charge jump onto this stone, then trick off onto the road. This shortcut can save you a whopping 1.5 seconds, and it's a really good one to use if you want to stay ahead of everyone who's bagging. This shortcut is also doable in the Cloud Rally, so it's a really useful one to learn. Wario Stadium to Airship Fortress. This 2 mushroom shortcut can save you just under a second. Special thanks to just me for finding a version of this shortcut. As you get to this section with the chain chomp, drift to the right and start a charge jump. Use a mushroom, then release your charge jump on the top of this little hill. Latch onto and then detach from this wall, then use your second mushroom. Trick off this last mound, then get back to the road. This shortcut saves 0.9 seconds and can be quite helpful if you're wanting to get ahead for Airship Fortress itself. It's a fairly simple shortcut, so I would recommend going for it if you've got a good handle on the game's mechanics. Airship Fortress to Bowser's Castle. This crazy lava shortcut can be done with only 1 mushroom. Special thanks to Astral Nick for finding this shortcut. As you approach this item set near Bowser's Castle, trick off this ramp and get onto this upper ledge. Drive straight for a second, then trick off into the lava. Once you hit the lava, shroom through it. Trick off this lava geyser and get back to the road. This shortcut saves about 1 second and it is just insane. Like how in the world is this even remotely in bounds? This shortcut is 100% worth going for anytime you have a mushroom. The only danger is that Lucky2 can pick you up if you jump off too early, but I would still say that the time save is well worth the risk. Airship Fortress to Dry Bones Burnout. This 2 mushroom shortcut chain can save you nearly 2 seconds. As you get close to this item set near Dry Bones Burnout, start a charge jump and use your mushroom through the off-road. Release your charge jump and bounce on this pole. Wall ride on this sign, detach from it, shake your controller for a mid-air trick, and bounce on this second pole. After getting back to the road, align yourself between this coin and the area just to the right of this yellow barricade. Use your second mushroom into the off-road and trick off this small mound of dirt. Attach to the wall, detach from it, shake trick again, and hit this pole. Trick off this rock, and you are done. This incredible shortcut saved about 1.8 seconds in my testing. It is very complex. It's a little bit risky as well, but less so if you've practiced it a lot. I highly recommend learning this shortcut, either if you're wanting a really good time save, or if you're just wanting to, as the kids say, aura farm. Special thanks to MKW Cataquack Z for finding this shortcut. Airship Fortress to Toad's Factory. This fantastic no item shortcut can save you a massive 1.5 seconds. As you approach this turn near the entrance to Toad's Factory, start a charge jump and align yourself with this pole. Release the charge jump a little bit early and bounce on the pole. Trick off the front of this rock and then the right side of this next rock. Once you're at the pavement, drive to the right for a moment, then trick off the ledge. Get 2 water tricks and you're done. This is a fairly simple shortcut, but it has a massive time save, which amounts to about 1.5 seconds. The only bad thing about this shortcut is the skipped item set, but aside from that, it is absolutely worth going for every single time. Plus, it's also in the Moon Rally, so that's pretty cool. Special thanks to J9 for finding this shortcut. Airship Fortress to Wario Stadium. You can use Dash Food to take Wario Stadium's off-road shortcut and save almost 1.5 seconds. Now firstly, the setup. Now at the start of lap 2, drive into this Yoshi's and grab some Dash Food. Then keep driving through the course until you get very close to the start of lap 3 at Wario Stadium. Drift to the left at a slightly wide angle, then use your Dash Food right as you enter the off-road. Release your drift, then get back to the road. While holding your Dash Food for pretty much a full lap might seem like a lot, it is quite worth it, as this very easy shortcut can save you about 1.3 seconds. Obviously, it's not always going to be a good idea to go for this shortcut, but if you're able to hold the Dash Food for a while, then this shortcut has a fantastic payoff. Airship Fortress to Shy Guy Bazaar. This simple grass shortcut can save you over a full second. Just after entering Daisy's palace, drift to the left and mushroom through the off-road. Midway through the grass, release your mini turbo and start a right drift, and then you are completely done. This is a very simple shortcut, and it is very, very worth it if you have a mushroom, since it is pretty much the best shroom spot in the entire final lap. Hey, you want another shortcut? Sorry, I do want to keep to like the one shortcut formula, but like I really like this other shortcut that I found, even though it's not as good a time save. So I'm gonna share it now. You can cut off this turn at the end of the lap shroomless. As you go through the bazaar at the entrance to the main course, drift to the right through this dash panel. Release a blue mini turbo and start a charge jump. Release the charge jump into the right side of this market stall and get onto the wall. Then just detach from it onto the ground around, and you're done. This shortcut is great because while it seems like it only saves a small amount of time, like 0.3 seconds, it can be done both at the end of lap 2 and at the end of lap 3. So this shortcut can end up saving you about 0.6 seconds, and it works at a very crucial time in the race. DK Pass to Starview Peak. If you use a mushroom here, you can cut off this turn with this secret rail. After leaving DK Pass and going through this item set, use your mushroom through the off-road. Trick off the side of this rock while making sure that you don't get too much airtime and slow down. Land on this rail, wait a second, trick off, and you're done. This very simple shortcut saves you a full second and can be very useful if you're wanting to take some good items into first place for Starview Peak. Special thanks to Umbreon360 for finding this shortcut. DK Pass to Sky High Sunday. This single mushroom shortcut can save you more than a second. As you leave DK Pass at the start of the first lap, drift to the left in between these coins and start a charge jump. Mushroom into the off-road and release a left charge jump into the wall at this specific point. Quickly trick right off the wall and get back to the road. This is a bit trickier than it looks, but it's worth it because this shortcut can save you 1.2 seconds over going around. This shortcut can put you in a great position for Sky High Sunday, which I consider to be a very good shrooming track. DK Pass to Wario's Galleon. You can use Dash Food to do this really cool shortcut chain. Special thanks to Not a Fish, Sekajo, and Bud E for finding versions of this shortcut. Firstly, at the very start of the race, drive over to this Yoshi's and grab some Dash Food. Keep driving for a few moments, then after you pass this item set, start a right drift. Release it and hop over this small patch of snow. Start a charge jump upon landing, then align yourself with this very specific point on the wall, using this small crack in the wall as a visual reminder of where you want to go. Use your Dash Food, then release your charge jump into the wall. Detach from the wall, air trick back towards the lower wall a bit, then get onto the lower wall. Trick off the wall pretty quickly, then drive back towards the road. Start a charge jump and then release it into this far pole. Get onto this far rock and trick off of it. Then just get back to the road and you're done. This is a really complicated shortcut, but it has a great time save of just under 1.5 seconds. I definitely am gonna go for this shortcut a lot, or at least that's what I would say if I had any confidence whatsoever that I would get this shortcut right at any point ever. DK Pass to Salty Speedway. This no item shortcut can save you almost 3 seconds. Special thanks to Speed Racer Toad for finding this shortcut. As you approach Salty Speedway from the side, take this right path past the item set. When you're getting close to this ramp, start a charge jump and align yourself between these two coins and the pole. As you go over the ramp, turn to the right and get onto this narrow ledge. Hold the charge jump, then release it into the pole. Get onto this rail, then trick over this sign to get to the next rail. Trick off the rail, hit this pole, and you are done. This is an amazing shortcut. It saves 2.5 seconds, and it is just so fun to pull off. This can be done in a few different intermissions going to Salty Speedway, which is really good as well. Plus, this shortcut is great at keeping you away from the rest of the pack, which is pretty much always a plus when front running. DK Pass to Cheap Falls. This crazy shortcut chain can save you almost 2.5 seconds. At literally the very start of the race, get a rocket start, then start a charge jump. Release it so you land right before this snow patch, then trick off of the snow patch. Get a trick off this other snow patch, then get a trick off this metal ramp. Bounce on this tree, then get onto this rail. Trick right off of the rail into the snow, then start a charge jump. Release it onto this rail, then trick off into this lamppost. Land in the snow, trick off this ledge into the water, and you're done. This shortcut is really tricky, but also really worth it as it can save you about 2.3 seconds. This is a very, very difficult shortcut, but once you get the hang of it, it can save you a fantastic amount of time. Special thanks to Rarihon for making a video about this shortcut. DK Pass to Moo Moo Meadows. This parkour shortcut can save you about 1.5 seconds. Special thanks to TC Pie for finding this shortcut. When you're about halfway through the course, start a charge jump and aim for this rail. Release it onto the rail, then trick left into this pole. Once you get to the off-road, use your mushroom and trick off this rock. Once you land, start a charge jump and release it before you go in the off-road. Get onto this rock, then trick onto this rail. Do some tricks on the rail for a little bit, then trick trick off onto this boost panel. Trick off the boost panel, fly through the air, and then land on this rail. Trick once, trick off, and then you're done. This is a great shortcut in that for most of the time, you are nowhere near the rest of the pack, so it's difficult for people to knock you out of the shortcut. Also, I'm not sure, but I think this shortcut might be doable with dash food. So if anyone's wanting to make a video testing that, tag me in the description and I'll check it out. DK Pass to Dandelion Depths. This 2 mushroom shortcut chain can save you more than 1.5 seconds. As you leave DK Pass and approach this item set, drift to the left and aim for this sign. Use a mushroom into the off-road and trick off this small ledge. Bounce on this small tree, then get back to the road. For the second part, drift to the right and start a charge jump, making sure to align yourself with this tree. Shroom through the off-road and release your charge jump into the tree. Bounce on this wooden pole, then this metal pole, and get back to the road. This is a pretty complicated shortcut, but it's also pretty worth it as it can save you a really good amount of time. I recommend going for this shortcut if you're doing the triple mushroom star strategy and want to safely take a superstar into a higher placement. Alternatively, I would recommend it if you really love bonking into ledges and ending up in last place. Starview Peak to Sky High Sunday. You can get onto this wall to save an insane amount of time. As you leave Starview Peak at the beginning of the route, start a charge jump and aim to be parallel with this part of the wall. Release a right charge jump onto the wall, then quickly trick off onto the top of the wall. Make sure not to go too far to the right for a moment, then drift towards the right. Trick off from the top of the wall and you're done. This shortcut can save about 1.5 seconds and is really good if you want to get ahead at the start of the race. Plus, if you have a feather, you can use this version of the shortcut, which is a lot easier and saves you even more time. Special thanks to Bolt for finding this shortcut and to Input15 for finding the feather version. Starview Peak to Wario's Galleon. Using this pole and these rocks can help you skip this entire turn. As you approach the glider in the middle of this intermission, start a charge jump and aim for this pole. Release it into the pole and get to this rock. Trick off the top of the rock, trick off this next rock, then get back to the road. This is a fairly simple shortcut, but it saves you a full second, it doesn't skip any items, it keeps you away from the pack, and it is very easy. If you don't already, I'd suggest going for this shortcut anytime you can. Special thanks to Toby MKW for making a video about this shortcut. Starview Peak to DK Pass. This single mushroom shortcut can save you almost 3 seconds. As you get up to the ski slope part of the intermission, start a charge jump and release it onto this stone. Bounce on this tree, then start turning left. Bounce on this second tree, then get over to this third tree. Once you land, keep holding R to start a charge jump and then use a mushroom through the off-road. Release your charge jump, go straight, and then just get back to the road. This amazing shortcut can save you about 2.6 seconds and is nowhere near as difficult as the shroomless version. Plus, this shortcut is also doable on Starview Peak to Cheap Sheep Falls, and its shortcut is doable on this intermission as well. Special thanks to Liam and Toby MKW for finding 2 different versions of this shortcut. Starview Peak to Cheap Falls. This super complex shroomless shortcut can save you a whopping 2.5 seconds. Special thanks to Easy Mario Kart for finding this shortcut. As you approach the ski slope section of this intermission, start a charge jump and aim for this rock. Release the charge jump so that you land on the rock at this very specific point, then trick off into this tree. Avoid the next tree, then get onto this wall and trick off into this tree. Aim for the next tree and bounce off of it, bounce off this tree, then finally bounce on this pole. Then land on the ground and you're done. This amazing shortcut can save you 2.5 seconds and it's really satisfying to pull off as well. It is incredibly difficult though, so be sure to practice it a lot if you plan to go for it online. Of course, I won't need to practice this shortcut because it's not like I'm kinda not good at this game or something.
I don't know how to do this shortcut. This is not how you're supposed to do it at all. Oh, that's definitely not how you're supposed to do it.
Starview Peak to Dandelion Depths. You can take this shortcut on the main course with just 1 dash food. For starters, grab this dash food item from this Yoshi's specifically. If you try and get it from this Yoshi's, then you won't always get the right kind of dash food, but with this one you will. You'll always get the Boo Cinema Popcorn dash food, which is a 2-tiered dash food, which is equivalent to a mushroom. You understand what I'm talking about, I think. Then as you get really close to Dandelion Depths, drift to the left and use your dash food through the off-road. Then simply get back to the road and you're done. This really fantastic front-running shortcut can save you just under 1.5 seconds. You may not think this is that crazy a shortcut, like, oh, isn't that just the mushroom shortcut that everybody already knew about, and you're stinky, Benramen, you suck. But since this shortcut only requires dash food that you can get in first place, this makes this intermission a whole lot better for front running. Starview Peak to Mario Circuit. This shortcut allows you to cut off this huge turn and save more than 1.5 seconds. As you start to get very close to Mario Circuit, start a charge jump and line up with this pole. Release the charge jump into the pole and get onto this wall. Detach from the wall and get onto the ground. Trick off this small patch in the off-road and you're all done. This shortcut is pretty difficult, but it is most definitely worth it because it can save you about 1.8 seconds. This shortcut looks pretty easy, but there's some kind of tricky stuff to do with the timing of the charge jump and the timing of the trick in the dirt and stuff. But if you can reliably get it right, then I'd say this is definitely worth the risk. Special thanks to Sweetie Breezy for finding this shortcut. Starview Peak to Boo Cinema. This crazy shortcut chain can save you almost 2 whole seconds. Special thanks to Bolt for finding this shortcut. As you reach the end of the ice section and get close to Ghost Valley, drift wide to the left and then drift to the right. Release an orange mini turbo into the off-road, then trick off this ledge into the wall. Detach from it, then after you get to the road, drift to the right and aim for this rock. Release or drift slightly before the rock, then trick off of it. Get onto this wall, detach from it, skip this lamppost, and you're done. This insane shortcut can save you about 1.8 seconds, and it's really good if you're trying to distance yourself from the rest of the pack. I should say that it's really tricky and kind of inconsistent, so I'd probably suggest going for the first part by itself unless you have the second part down pat. Sky High Sundae to Wario's Galleon. The inside of the Vanilla Lake section is actually not out of bounds, and you can get across it really easily with this simple mushroom shortcut. As you go through this item set and approach Vanilla Lake, take this left path and start a charge jump. Release it just as you go over this ramp and aim for the off-road. When you land, use your mushroom and keep holding R to start a charge jump. Release the charge jump onto the barricade, trick off, and you're done. This shortcut can save you about 1.3 seconds, and it's very fun to pull off correctly. For such a long time, I just had no idea that you could even go in the Vanilla Lake section, but it's very cool to see that you can not only go through it, but it also saves you a great amount of time. Special thanks to MK Persian for finding this shortcut. Sky High Sundae to Salty Salty Speedway. This really simple shortcut can save you over 1.5 seconds. As you start to get close to Salty Salty Speedway, start a charge jump and release it onto this rail. Trick left into this pole and get to this beach. From that point on, you mostly just need to drive on this beach for a while, although you can trick on the side of the pier. Then aim for this rock right here and trick off onto the road. This super easy shortcut can save you about 1.7 seconds and is very consistent even if you've only attempted it like once or twice. It's a super easy time save, so I recommend going for it anytime you can. Plus, this shortcut also works on DK Pass to Salty Salty Speedway, and its shortcut also works on this intermission. If you want to learn this extra shortcut, then check out this short I made about how to do it successfully, although that is kind of ironic because I don't think I've ever done it successfully in an actual online race. Sky High Sundae to DK Pass. This incredible shortcut chain can save you a whopping 2 whole seconds. Special thanks to Bolt and Yusuf for finding this shortcut chain. To start off, when you're in the ice cave section, start a charge jump and aim for this pole. Right trick into the pole and get on this wall at this very specific point. Trick off fairly quickly and land back on the road. Then drift around this far coin and start a charge jump, making sure to align yourself with this tree. Just before you get in the off-road, release your charge jump, start turning right and hit the root of the tree. Keep holding right in the air and get on the back of this billboard. Detach from this billboard, trick in the air so that you can bounce on this pole, then this second pole, then this third pole, and then get back to the road. This insane shortcut chain is really risky, but it's worth it because it can save you 2 full seconds. Now, this shortcut is pretty tricky and takes a lot of practice. It took me an embarrassing amount of attempts to get it right, but it is an amazing shortcut, so I'd recommend getting good at it if you want to get a big lead going into DK Pass. Sky High Sundae to Cheap Falls. You can skip a large part of this turn and the water to save more than a full second. As you get super close to the entrance of Cheap Falls, go on this right rail and stay on it until you're close to this lantern. Trick right into the lantern and keep holding hard right. Get onto this rock, then trick off into the water. Trick out of the water, then trick off this small island. Once you get back in the water, wait until you're right next to this island, then trick out of the water again. Bounce on this pole and get back to the water. This really complex shortcut chain saves about 1.3 seconds and is great in terms of keeping you away from the rest of the pack. Special thanks to Input15 and Sweetie Breezy for finding this shortcut chain. Sky High Sundae to Dandelion Depths. This triple tree bounce shortcut can save you just over a second. Special thanks to Cadence MK for finding this shortcut. Once you're about halfway through the intermission, start a charge jump and align yourself with this small shrub and this tree. Use your mushroom just as you enter the off-road and release your charge jump into the tree. Go a bit to the left, hit this second tree, then this third tree. Use your second mushroom, trick off this ledge, and get back to the road. Even though this shortcut uses 2 whole mushrooms, it's pretty easy to pull off and save some really good time. Plus, the fact that you can do this other dash food shortcut on this intermission means that shrooming may be the right strategy for this route anyway. Sky High Sundae to Starview Peak. You can charge jump off this ledge to skip this massive turn without using any items. Special thanks to Astral Nick for finding this shortcut. After going over the glider section as you leave Sky High Sundae, quickly land on the ground and turn right. Start a charge jump and release it just as you enter the off-road. Then just land back on the other side and you're done. This shortcut has a great time save of about 1.5 seconds, and it's surprisingly easy to do as well. This shortcut can give you a great advantage if you're wanting to item smuggle some mushrooms into a higher placement on this course, which is usually a great strategy for Starview Peak. Also, this is one of my favorite shortcuts in the entire game. Look at it, it's so cool. I had no making idea that gap was even inbound, let alone that you could get across it and could actually like save time. Wario's Galleon to Peach Beach. You can simply get in this boat to save a massive 1.6 seconds. Special thanks to Not a Fish for making a video about this shortcut. As you leave Wario's Galleon and pass this ramp, make sure you're in first or second place, as that'll give you the best chance at getting into one of these boats. Then after passing this item set, go to either the left or the right and grab one of the boats. After getting in one, drive straight through the whirlpool for a couple of seconds. After that, simply get shot out, get in the water, and you're done. This is an incredibly easy shortcut, and the fact that it saves more than 1.5 seconds is absolutely ridiculous. But of course, it wouldn't make much sense for me to just give you no way of getting in the top 2 placements in the first place, and then just telling you, hey, get in the boat now. So if you want to find out some great ways of getting in the top 2 placements before the boats, then check out these shorts from Toby MKW and Cadence MK. They're both great channels, so consider subscribing. Wario's Galleon to Salty Speedway. You can bounce off this umbrella to get on this rail and save almost 2.5 seconds. As you get super close to Salty Speedway, go up on this right path and drive straight for a second. Ooh, get worried, shortcut. You're having to drive straight for like 0.5 seconds. Then start a charge jump and aim between these 2 points. Then release a right charge jump and trick bounce off this second umbrella. Land on the yellow barricade, trick off it, and get on this rail. Trick onto the next rail, then trick off into this pole. Get onto this ledge, trick off, and you're done. This is a fantastic shortcut, and the fact that it can save you over 2 whole seconds with no mushrooms is absolutely amazing. This shortcut alone already makes this intermission a lot more viable for front running, plus it's just kind of fun to do as well. Wario's Galleon to Cheap Falls. You can use 2 dash food items to cut off this giant turn and save almost 2 full seconds. Firstly, as you leave the main water section of the course and enter lap 2, steer into this Yoshi's and grab some dash food. Then as you approach this item set, steer a bit to the left and intentionally miss the item set. This allows you to leave space in your second slot for your second dash food. Then steer towards this other Yoshi's and start a charge jump. Pick up this dash food, jump into this yellow pole, then bounce off this tree. Start a charge jump when you land, use your dash food and release the charge jump off of the rock. Aim for this raised ledge, starting a charge jump when you land. Wait a moment, use your second dash food, release your charge jump and trick off this rock. Then just drift back onto the road and you're done. This is a fantastic shortcut. It saves about 1.9 seconds and it is just generally really fun to do. I think this is a pretty popular spot for people to use golden dash mushrooms through the grass. So it is amazing that you can, to some degree, take that shortcut with only first place items. Plus, it's not a particularly difficult shortcut, so I'd recommend getting a bit of a feel for it first, then taking it online. Wario's Galleon to DK Pass. This really simple mushroom shortcut can save you more than 2 whole seconds. As you approach this Yoshi's after the start of lap 2, start a charge jump and aim for this pole. Release the charge jump into the pole, then once you get to the ground, use your mushroom and keep holding R to start another charge jump. Release a right charge jump, drift to the right, and you're done. This is a very easy shortcut, but it is surprisingly effective as it saves a whopping 2.1 seconds. Oddly enough, I don't think this shortcut is used very much online, so this is definitely exploitable for those wanting to smuggle some great items into higher placements. Special thanks to Icy River for finding this shortcut. Wario's Galleon to Starview Peak. You can easily cut off this turn to save you 1.6 seconds. Special thanks to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut. This shortcut is very simple. As you're right about halfway through the course, drift to the right fairly wide and use a mushroom through the off-road. Release an orange mini turbo and you are done. The fact that this shortcut is not only super easy, but it can save you more than 1.5 seconds is absolutely insane. Unfortunately, that does mean that this course is a bit difficult to front run, but I don't think it's necessarily a hard bagger either. I think it's more likely somewhere in between. Wario's Galleon to Sky High Sunday. You can skip this turn by riding this secret barricade. Special thanks to TC Pie for finding this shortcut. As you leave the water section and approach the second lap, trick through this item set and start a charge jump when you land. Start turning hard left as you approach the pipe, then release a left charge jump into the pipe. Land on the barricade, then start a charge jump. Release the charge jump at the end of the barricade, then get back to the road. While this shortcut doesn't save that much time, only about 0.3 seconds, it is quite consistent once you've practiced it a bit, and it keeps you away from the pack for a good few seconds. Also, it's just fun. Why do you hate fun so much, eh? Koopa Troopa Beach to DK Spaceport. You can go across these airborne rails to save more than half a second. As you go through this glider section close to DK Spaceport, start aiming for the left side of this rail. Get on the rail, wait till you're close to the end, then trick to the left. Trick to the left again onto this next rail, then trick off into the air. This is definitely more of a simple shortcut, but it's quite effective, saving you 0.7 seconds. Plus, it's quite easy, it doesn't require any items, and it's not difficult at all to remember, so I'd recommend going for this any time that the rail is free. Koopa Troopa Beach to Crown City. This insane shortcut chain can save you more than 2 whole seconds. Special thanks to J9 for introducing me to this shortcut. As you enter the alleyway section of the course, get onto this rail, trick right off of it, trick right in the air, and get onto this wall. Detach from the wall, do an air trick, and start a charge jump upon landing. Release the charge jump at the edge of this building, then get onto this second building. Drift to the left and release a blue mini turbo slightly wide so that you don't hit this wall. Get onto the ground and drift around this corner. Start a charge jump aiming right around this green recycle bin. Release the charge jump onto the wall and get onto this rail. Just at the end of this rail, trick right, making sure not to hold hard right so that you don't go out of bounds, and get on this next rail. At the end of this new rail, trick to the right so that you also bounce on this pole for some extra height. Position yourself just right, bounce off the head of this Goomba, and get back to the road. This may be one of the most complicated shortcut chains in this entire game, but it is worth it as this massive shortcut can save you a whopping 2.1 seconds. It is quite a tricky shortcut and there are many ways you can fail it, but ultimately it's a fantastic shortcut which I highly recommend you learn. Plus, this shortcut chain can also be done from Faraway Oasis to Crown City, as well as DK Spaceport to Crown City, so it is very useful for quite a few different routes. Koopa Troopa Beach to Peach Stadium. Simply jumping early off this ramp can save you almost a full second. Special thanks to Toby MKW and Range Rover for finding 2 different versions of this shortcut. As you go up this big pink ramp as you approach Peach Stadium, steer to the left, aiming for the point where this water ramp and this continuation of the main ramp intersect. Trick off the ramp, then steer to the right. Land in the water and trick off this grey ramp onto the road. Even though this shortcut is quite easy to do, it also saves a lot of time, specifically about 0.8 seconds. The only real downside to the shortcut is that it skips an item set, but unless you really need an item, then I'd say this one's A-okay with me. Koopa Troopa Beach to Faraway Oasis. This precise tree bounce can save you almost an entire second. As you get about halfway through lap 2, start a charge jump and aim for this rock. Make sure you aim for like this middle section of the rock where like the incline of the rock is going in basically the direction where you want to go. Use your mushroom, release your charge jump at the peak of the rock and steer towards this tree. Bounce off the tree, drive through the off-road, trick off this ramp, and you're done. This is a super satisfying shortcut and it saves some really good time as well, about 0.8 seconds. It's a little bit tricky in terms of like your angle on the rock and like the timing of you releasing the charge jump off of the rock and things like that. The main things you want to remember is to get on the rock at the thin middle section and to get off the rock at the highest point you can. Special thanks to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut. Koopa Troopa Beach to Dino Jungle. You can use dash food to cut off this grass section and save almost 1.5 seconds. Firstly, as you take this turn after entering the 3rd lap, drift slightly wide and grab this dash food. Then continue to go through the course until you get to the main laboratory section. Drift to the right for a moment, then start a charge jump. Release the charge jump, clip this wall, air trick, and get onto the ground. Use the dash food, hop out of the last part of the off-road, and you're done. This shortcut is exceptional for front running as it saves you about 1.3 seconds without you having to use any mushrooms. This is a perfect counter to bagging, shrooming, and item smuggling as you can take the best shroom spot on the entire course with just one first place item. Also, if you grab this other dash food as well as the first one, which is pretty easy to do because they're not that far apart, you can take this version of the shortcut, which is both faster and easier than the previous version. And that's pretty darn tooting smashing if you ask me. Faraway Oasis to Cheap Falls. You can use dash food to jump all the way over this wall. Firstly, as you get close to the main course, grab some dash food from this Yoshi's and, just keep driving through the route. Once you get to these rocks, start a charge jump and use your dash food into the middle rock. Release your charge jump off of the rock and aim for the closest tree. Bounce off the tree and get back to the road. Although this shortcut doesn't save a lot of time, less than half a second, it is one of the best shortcuts on the road to the main course, so it's pretty important to learn, and it is super easy, so you could probably succeed in going for it even if you've never tried it before. Special thanks to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut. Faraway Oasis to Salty Speedway. This simple rock shortcut can save you more than half a second. As you approach this ramp about halfway through the intermission, trick off the ramp and then turn right. Spam the item button to get a mushroom, then use it in the direction of this rock. Trick off the rock and get back to the road. This is quite a simple shortcut, but it has quite a good time save, saving you about 0.6 seconds. Plus, just like the last shortcut, it's very easy, and it's even easier if you have a mushroom before the item set on the ramp. Special thanks again to Toby MKW. Faraway Oasis to Peach Beach. You can use a feather to get to this glider and save a full second. As you drift around this corner about halfway through the route, release your drift and drift to the left. Right as you get to the off-road, release a blue mini turbo and use your feather. Do an air trick, then get to the ground. Drive in the off-road for a second, then trick off this glider. Then just fly through the air for a few seconds, glide back down to the road, and you are done. This shortcut has a great time save of 1 full second, which is fantastic considering it only takes 1 first place item. This shortcut is a little bit tricky in terms of timing the mini turbo boosted feather thing. Just make sure to use the feather right before the off-road, or otherwise you'll slow down tremendously. This shortcut is a fair amount slower than the single mushroom version, but of course it is very good that you can use this shortcut quite effectively while front running. Faraway Oasis to Great Question Block Ruins. You can use 2 mushrooms to cut off this massive off-road section and save more than 1.5 seconds. Right at the very start of the race, right after your rocket start a charge jump and aim for this leftmost item box. Grab the box and release the charge jump into the off-road. Keep holding R to start another charge jump and spam the item button until you use your first mushroom. Release your charge jump into this tree and start another charge jump upon landing. Use another mushroom and release your charge jump into this second tree. Then land in the water, trick out, and you're done. This is an excellent shortcut, saving you about 1.3 seconds without being so complicated that it needs to be practiced that much. The only real weak point of this shortcut is that it starts at the very first item set of the course. You have to rely very heavily upon getting triple mushrooms at the first set, because if you can't get them, then you lose a ton of time and have to drive through the off-road for a while, all while acquiring a sense of deep shame that will most likely last to the end of your life. For this reason, it's best to be in a fairly low position when attempting this shortcut, specifically something like 14th or lower. Special thanks to Daymare for finding this shortcut. Faraway Oasis to Dino Jungle. You can use dash food to cut off this turn and save more than half a second. As you get close to the start of the second lap of the intermission, drift into this Yoshi's and grab some dash food. Then, as you go over this hill, trick off of it and start turning right. Hop over some of this off-road and start a charge jump upon landing. Use your dash food and release your charge jump off of this rock. Once you get to the ground, trick off this rock and get back to the road. This shortcut can save you about 0.6 seconds and isn't too difficult to pull off once you get the gist of it. There is also a mushroom version of the shortcut, but it barely saves any more time, which is great for front running. Unfortunately, Dino Jungle isn't much of a front runner, more of a shroomer or a bagger, but this shortcut can definitely be used well for smuggling some mushrooms or a shock dodge item into a higher placement. Special thanks to Umbreon360 for inspiring this shortcut. Faraway Oasis to Koopa Troopa Beach. This shortcut allows you to save almost 3 seconds by going out of bounds. As you leave Faraway Oasis right at the start of the intermission, start a charge jump and release it onto this rail. Quickly trick right and clip this wall, then drift to the right. Mini turbo trick off this ledge, then trick off this bump in the road. Drift to the right, then mini turbo trick off this rock. Pass this pole just to the right, go out of bounds, get put back on the track, and you have just saved yourself 2.5 seconds. This is now one of my favorite shortcuts in the game. It's technical, it's time effective, but most of all, it's just ridiculously funny. These types of shortcuts are called respawn shortcuts, and intermissions are full of them. They are awesome. Nintendo, please do not patch this out in like some update. They are fun as all heck. Special thanks to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut, and to Input15 for finding an alternate version. Faraway Oasis to Crown City. You can cut off this giant grass turn to save almost 1.5 seconds. After going through this main street section during lap 4, drift to the right to better align yourself with the wall. Start a charge jump as you get close to this barricade, then release it towards this wall. Slightly touch the wall, go around this pole, then fully attach to the wall. Quickly trick off, slightly touch this grass patch, bonk into this wall, and you're done. This is quite a tricky shortcut, but it's worth it, as executing this shortcut well can save you about 1.4 seconds. But this shortcut is very difficult and requires a lot of practice, specifically with the angle of your charge jump. Go too far to the left and you'll miss the wall completely. Go too far to the right and you'll just run headfirst into the wall. Also, sometimes you'll just do this. For some reason, I don't really know why. The trick is to ever so slightly touch the wall before running into the pole. That allows you to still have some attachment to the wall, even as you like go around the pole. If you practice it enough with that knowledge in mind, then this shortcut can actually get pretty consistent, giving you a great advantage on this course. And since this variant of Crown City is doable on both DK Spaceport to Crown City and Koopa Troopa Beach to Crown City, that means that you can chain this shortcut into the one that I used in my Koopa Troopa Beach video. When combined, these shortcuts can save you more than 3 full seconds. Special thanks to Input15 for finding this shortcut. If you want to see another great shortcut for this intermission, then check out this video by Input. It's an amazing shortcut. Faraway Oasis to Peach Stadium. You can use 2 mushrooms to cut off this huge off-road patch and save more than a full second. Special thanks to MK Persian and Luigi for finding 2 different versions of this shortcut. As you get about halfway through the course, start a charge jump and aim for this sign. Release the charge jump into the sign, then start another charge jump upon landing. Use your mushroom and release your next charge jump at the top of this rock. Get onto this raised platform thing, then trick off these 2 rocks. Start a third charge charge jump and use your mushroom, then release your charge jump at this rock. Then just get back to the road and you're done. This shortcut saves about 1.1 seconds and works quite well if you're wanting a lead heading into the main course. There is a dash food variant, but it is a little bit slower and much more difficult. But since this 2 mushroom shortcut lets you keep 1 mushroom if you had 3, this shortcut works quite well if you're wanting to keep an extra mushroom to take one of the other great shortcuts on this route. Plus, this route is also extra great because it lets you play an exhilarating final lap on Paperclip Stadium! Peach Beach to Great Question Block Ruins. You can use this respawn shortcut to save just under 2 full seconds. As you get to this hill section near the end of lap 1, start a charge jump and aim for this rock. Release your charge jump into the off-road and use your mushroom. Start another charge jump upon landing and release it at the top of this hill, aiming for the side of this rock. Clip the wall, go out of bounds, and get put back on the road. This respawn shortcut saves about 1.8 seconds and is excellent for front running since it only requires 1 mushroom. But since this intermission is going towards Great Question Block Ruins, it might be a good idea to try and save a mushroom for the opening shortcut if you had more than 1, and you can't do that if you use the respawn shortcut because you lose your items. Fortunately, there is a version of this shortcut that saves just a little less time but requires no respawn. As you go up the same hill, align yourself between these 2 large rocks. Use your mushroom right as you enter the off-road and trick off this bump in the off-road. Trick off this second bump, starting a charge jump when you land. Release it just to the right of this tree and get back to the road. This shortcut saves about 1.6 seconds, which is only 0.2 seconds less than the respawn shortcut. Although it is a bit more difficult than the respawn shortcut, so it's not necessarily the one you should use every time. So if you're convinced that you can win without an extra mushroom, or you just think the mushroom will be stolen or shocked out of you, then I recommend the respawn shortcut. But if you've practiced it and you think you can carry your mushroom all the way to the main course, then I would recommend you try the non-respawn shortcut. Special thanks to Luigi for finding both of these shortcuts. Peach Beach to Dino Jungle. You can skip a large part of this turn without using any item. As you approach this item set right at the start of lap 2, start a charge jump and align yourself with this fairly specific point on the wall. Get on the wall, detach from it, do an air trick, clip the wall, and get onto the wall fully. Wait a moment, trick off the wall, hit this tree, and get back to the road. According to my testing, this shortcut can save about 0.5 seconds, which is quite good, especially since it doesn't use mushrooms or anything. It's fairly tricky and quite inconsistent, but it can give you quite a good lead in the middle of the intermission. There is another slightly faster version, but it's very difficult, so I don't know if I'd recommend going for it unless you really want to commit to practicing it a lot. Special thanks to TC Pie for finding this shortcut and to Mankalore for finding the alternate version. Peach Beach to Faraway Oasis. This crazy shortcut chain can save you 2 full seconds. As you go through this section during lap 1, drift into this Yoshi and grab yourself some dash food. Release your drift and start a charge jump aiming right for this glider. Spam the item button, use your dash food, release your charge jump and trick off the glider. After that, fly through the air for a few seconds, then land on the ground fairly early so you can start drifting to eventually charge up and release an orange mini turbo. After releasing your mini turbo, start aligning yourself with this barely visible edge of the wall and trick off the ramp onto that part of the wall. Detach from the wall and do a mid-air trick. Bounce off this tree, then get back to the road. This is an amazing shortcut as it saves you 2 seconds with only 1 small dash food while not being too difficult either. There are a few little tricky things that could make you fail this shortcut though. The main thing you need to worry about is getting onto the side of this wall as it's a fairly specific point that you need to get to, but if you practice it enough then it can be a really effective shortcut, so I recommend you learn it. Plus the first half of the shortcut can be done in the cherry rally, so you know, at least it'll make the cherry rally slightly more bearable. Special thanks to Mankalore and MKW Caliquac Z for coming up with the 2 halves of this shortcut. Peach Beach to Salty Speedway. This super simple mushroom shortcut can save you about half a second. Right at the start of the route, as you approach this item set, drift to the left and grab an item box. Quickly spam the item button as you go into the off-road, then use your mushroom. Then, as you exit the off-road, release your drift and you're done. This shortcut saves 0.5 seconds and is really easy, so you probably won't really need to practice it even if you plan to go for it. Plus, it can be done on every intermission going from Peach Beach except the one to Wario's Galleon, so it's very good in that regard as well. This shortcut can give you quite a good head start when heading towards Salty Speedway, which I think is a fairly good front-running track. The shortcut does require you to get a mushroom from the first item set, which certainly isn't ideal, but overall, I would say it's worth going for if you want to develop a nice early lead. Special thanks to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut. Peach Beach to Wario's Galleon. This very simple boat shortcut can somehow save you more than 1.5 seconds. Right at the end of the first lap on this intermission, get out of the water and start driving on the beach. Once you get to the items, grab this one that's just on the edge, but still stay on the beach. Keep driving on the beach until you get to this boat. Get in the water, then board the boat. Stick fairly close to the right side for the majority of your time in the boat, then angle the boat down as you're about to be ejected from it. Then just get out of the boat and you're done. I know it seems very easy, but this shortcut can somehow save you a massive 1.8 seconds. Although this looks like quite literally the easiest shortcut in the world, to the point where you kind of wonder, does it really count as a shortcut? It is actually a little bit more technical than you might think. Firstly, you should make sure to stay on this beach, as that is a lot faster than driving in the water. And secondly, you need to angle your boat super far down as you're about to be ejected from it to reduce airtime. This is the main reason that I think it's a good idea to go pretty far to the right, as I think it allows you to angle down your shot faster due to the incline of the waves. All in all, this is a great shortcut, saving you a ton of time without being too difficult. Plus, this shortcut also appears in the Spiny Rally, so it can be super important to get good at. Salty Speedway to DK Pass. This incredible shortcut chain can save you a whopping 4 seconds. As you approach this ramp on backwards DK Pass, trick off this bump in the road and move a bit to the left. Trick off the next bump and start a charge jump when you land while trying to align yourself with this middle coin. As you hit the coin, release a neutral charge jump and start turning a bit to the right. Get on this rail and quickly trick right off of it. Get onto the ground and trick off this ledge to skip this massive gap, then drift to the right to get the correct alignment again. Then after drifting around the corner, trick off this next ledge into the pole and get back to the road. Yes, this absolutely amazing shortcut can save a full 4 seconds, and it somehow makes backwards DK Pass, of all things, one of the most technical courses in Mario Kart history. Now, there are quite a few things that you need to be mindful of when attempting this shortcut. You have to make sure to hit this coin because the slight boost it gives you is very important to getting on the rail, similar to the Wario Stadium coin shortcut. Also, you need to make sure to not go too far to the right of this rail, as that can easily cause you to go out of bounds. And lastly, you need to practice the gap jump part of the shortcut a lot, as it is very tricky, with even the slightest misstep potentially having massive consequences. But if you can get all of those parts down pat, then this shortcut can save you some massive time. Special thanks to Liam and Shortcat for inspiring several parts of this shortcut. Salty Speedway to Wario's Galleon. Simply driving through this patch of water can save you more than half a second. Right at the start of the race, trick off this ramp, then trick off the right side of this bridge into the water. Get a couple of tricks in the water and you're done. This incredibly simple shortcut can somehow save you 0.7 seconds, which is amazing for how easy it is. As long as you don't forget to trick a few times in the water to speed you up, then this shortcut is very hard to fail. The only downside is that you do miss this item set, but I think it's probably worth it if you want to form a nice early lead. Special thanks to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut. Salty Speedway to Peach Beach. It seems impossible, but just driving through this water section can somehow save you almost a full second. As you approach this banner at the start of lap 2, get over to the left side of the beach and get into the water. Get into the water and keep driving through it for a very long time. Then get out just before this item set and you are fully done. This really easy shortcut can give you a great lead, and it doesn't skip any items either. Plus, it shows up in the Spiny Rally, so it can be important for that too. There is really just no reason to not go for this shortcut every single time. Actually, I feel like I had something else I wanted to say about this shortcut. Oh yeah, that's right. Hey, can somebody else please find a better shortcut for this one? Salty Speedway to Great Question Block Ruins. You can use this single mushroom shortcut to save 1 full second. As you get up to this section in the second lap, start a charge jump and get on the left side of this piranha plane. Use your mushroom into the off-road and release your charge jump onto the wall. Detach from the wall and do a mid-air trick. Then trick off this rock and get back to the road. This is a fantastic shortcut, saving you 1 entire second without being super difficult or even requiring an excessive amount of items. This shortcut is very good if you want to lead going into Great Question Block Ruins, which I think is an excellent strategy for this course. Plus, this shortcut pairs nicely with the opening shortcut on Great Question Block Ruins, as you can do both if you have more than 1 mushroom. Special thanks to Daymare for finding this shortcut. Salty Speedway to Dino Jungle. You can use a mushroom to get on this wall and cut off this large grass patch. As you approach this turn heading into Dino Jungle, drift to the right and charge up a blue mini turbo, aiming for this small plant. Release your drift and start a charge jump using a mushroom into the grass. At this very specific point, release a right charge jump and get on the wall. Detach from the wall, trick in the air, and you're done. This is quite a good shortcut, saving you about 0.6 seconds and keeping you out of the way of the pack for a bit. The shortcut is a little bit inconsistent and it's fairly difficult to get it exactly how I did it in the main clip, but overall I think it's a great shortcut that can get you a good lead going into Dino Jungle. Plus, this shortcut can be done on 3 other intermissions to Dino Jungle as well as the Cherry Rally, so it is very versatile in that regard. Special thanks to TC Pie for finding this shortcut. Salty Speedway to Faraway Oasis. This 2 mushroom shortcut chain can save you more than a full second. As you get up to this item set in the middle of lap 2, start a charge jump and release it into the off-road. Upon landing, use a mushroom and start another charge jump, then release it into this tree. Get on the ground and trick off this rock. Bounce off this next tree and get on the ground, going down the river and tricking off some of the water for a bit. As you get out of the water, start a charge jump and then use your mushroom. At the end of your boost, release your charge jump into this tree and bounce off of it. Then just trick off this rock and you're done. This shortcut can save about 1.2 seconds and is definitely worth going for if you have triple mushrooms. Plus, if you did have triple shrooms, then you can also take the opening shortcut on Faraway Oasis to save even more time. Special thanks to MK Persian and ArcGamer3 for finding the 2 halves of this shortcut. Salty Speedway to Cheap Falls. You can take this incredible shroomless shortcut to save a massive 2.5 seconds. Special thanks to Sweetie Breezy for finding this shortcut. As you get to this big turn during lap 2 of the intermission, start a charge jump while hitting these dash panels. Perform a left charge jump onto this rail, then quickly trick left again into this pole. Start a left drift upon landing and charge up an orange mini turbo. Release that mini turbo, trick off the right edge of this rock, and you're done. This is an amazing shortcut, saving you about 2.6 seconds without you even needing to use a single mushroom and without being very difficult. I did skip the item set in the clip that I used, but I'm sure that you could get to the item set by sacrificing a little bit of time. This is an absolutely amazing shortcut and I'm sure it can be optimized even further than I've optimized it, so let me know if you find some way to do it better. Dino Jungle to Koopa Troopa Beach. You can use dash food to cut off this big turn. As you leave Dino Jungle and approach this Yoshi's, start a charge jump and release it to the left as you grab this dash food. Bounce on this small pole and get on this rock. Trick off the rock, then once you get on the ground, use your dash food. Trick off this next rock and get back to the road. This is a really great shortcut, saving you just about 0.6 seconds and giving you a nice lead right at the start of the race. Just a little technical note, try and make sure that you time this first charge jump just right so that you can get on the rock slightly early and reduce air time. Make sure to release the charge jump right before this dash food. That is the right timing that you need. If you can nail that, then this shortcut can give you a good lead, making this shortcut great for front running. But Ben, the illustrious Ben, I hear you say, why would you want to front run an intermission that is going to Koopa Troopa Beach? Well, it's because you can actually use dash food to take this Koopa Troopa Beach shortcut shroomless, and you can do it twice if you have 2. Make sure to grab the dash food from these 2 stations and you will be just peachy. Special thanks to Dino Fish for finding this shortcut. Dino Jungle to Faraway Oasis. This triple mushroom shortcut chain can save you just under 1.5 seconds. As you get up to this section during the second lap, start a charge jump and mushroom into the off-road, aiming for the middle of this rock. Release it right as you touch the rock to get the right amount of airtime and get onto the ground. Trick off this next rock and get over to the right side of this ramp. Trick off the ramp and start a charge jump after landing. Without releasing the charge jump, fall off the left side of this next ramp, then use your mushroom. Then release your charge jump off the rock and then get onto this cliff face. Detach from the cliff face, then use your final mushroom and start a charge jump. Release the charge jump onto this fence. At the end of the fence, trick right into this pole and get back to the road. This fantastic shortcut chain can save you right about 1.4 seconds over using triple mushrooms normally, and it's probably the best spot to use this amount of mushrooms, maybe outside of the main course itself. It's a fair bit tricky, and even slight changes to what I've done can lose you a bit of time, but if you think you've got the hang of it, then I think it can be a great shortcut, especially for shrooming. Special thanks to Toby MKW and Sekijo MKW for finding the two parts of this shortcut. Dino Jungle to Salty Speedway. You can cut off this huge grass section with only 2 mushrooms. As you begin to get pretty close to Salty Speedway, start a charge jump and align yourself close to the right side of this fence. Shroom through the fence, then charge jump. Mushroom again, then trick off this rock. Then just bounce on this tree and you're done. This is a fairly simple shortcut, but it's quite rewarding, saving you about 0.5 seconds. When done correctly, this shortcut can give you a good lead going into Salty Speedway, which I think is a great strategy for this course. Dino Jungle to Peach Beach. You can use this shortcut to cut off this massive turn and save more than half a second. Special thanks to Umbreon360 for finding this shortcut. As you get to this big turn during the second lap, start a charge jump and use a mushroom towards this tree. Release your charge jump into the right side of the tree and then get to the ground. Trick off this rock onto this specific part of the wall, then detach from it and you're done. This shortcut saves about 0.7 seconds and is great if you're trying to get ahead on this intermission. But the other great thing is, it's not even that difficult. Sure, it does look a bit tricky, and there is some fairly hard stuff to do with your timing of getting on the wall, but if you practice it a good amount, then this shortcut can become really consistent. Dino Jungle to Great Question Block Ruins. This crazy shortcut chain can save you just under 2 seconds. Right at the start of the intermission, as you go past this item set, start a charge jump and use your mushroom into the off-road. At this specific point, release a left charge jump onto the wall and detach from it. Get back to the road, then keep driving through the intermission until you get to this straight. Drift to the left, grab an item, and mini turbo edge trick off the grass. Start a charge jump upon landing, then drive towards specifically the center face of this rock. Release your charge jump at the top of the rock, then bounce off this tree. Next, you want to be aiming for the tree just to the left of this pole. Touch the gate, go under the gate, and hit this tree. Then just trick off this rock and get back to the road. This is an insanely difficult shortcut, but it is well worth it because the 2 parts of this shortcut combined can save a total of 1.85 seconds. The first part of this shortcut can be done from every single intermission from Dino Jungle except the one to Koopa Troopa Beach, and is a little bit tricky, but not that bad. But the second part is absolutely insane. Practically every single thing you do in this shortcut is a liability to you failing it. It is absolutely ridiculous. Failing any aspect of the shortcut, from the gate underpass to getting on the rock to even the mini turbo trick, can cause this shortcut to be a complete failure. But if you've practiced it and you know the risks and you think you can make the shortcut, then I would say it is well worth going for. Plus, there's also a much easier mushroom version of this shortcut, which is very much appreciated. Special thanks to Sweetie Breezy for finding the second part of this shortcut, and to Yosh Alamo for finding the mushroom version. Great Question Block Ruins to Dino Jungle. This incredible single mushroom shortcut can save you more than 2 seconds. As you get up to this section with the T-Rex, start a charge jump, release it as you touch the off-road, and bounce off this pole. Upon landing, use a mushroom and start another charge jump and release that charge jump towards this tree. Bounce off this tree, trick off the left side of this rock to reduce airtime, and get back to the road. This fantastic shortcut can save you 2.1 seconds over using a mushroom normally, and it's incredibly useful on this route. In terms of strategy, I would say this shortcut makes this intermission great for the triple shroom star strategy, as you can use a few mushrooms for shortcuts and recovery, and then use your star for the Dino Jungle ending shortcut. This shortcut really changes this route, turning it from a fairly simple bagger to a very intricate shroomer. Special thanks to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut. Great question block ruins to Koopa Troopa Beach. You can use a mushroom to clear this massive grass patch and save just under 1.5 seconds. As you get close to the end of the first lap on this intermission, align yourself with this small tree. Start a charge jump and mushroom into the off-road. Release your charge jump and bounce on the tree. Get back to the ground and trick off the right side of this rock. Get onto the ground again and trick off this bump in the off-road. Trick off this rock, trick off this next rock, and get back to the road. This is a really great shortcut, saving 1.4 seconds without being particularly difficult or inconsistent. There are a few little tricky bits that can cause you to slip up, but if you practice it even a little bit, then I think you can get this one pretty consistently. Plus, you can also do a version of this shortcut 100% shroomless, and even though it saves a little less time, it can be very helpful if you don't have any mushrooms. Special thanks to Yosh Alamo for finding this shortcut, and to Mapikun MKW for finding the shroomless version. Great question block ruins to Faraway Oasis. It appears that this insanely simple dash route shortcut can somehow save you a whopping 1.5 seconds. As you get fairly close to Faraway Oasis, drive into this Yoshi's and grab some dash food. Then as you approach the grass shortcut at the entrance of the course, drift to the left, use your dash food, and you're done. This shortcut can save about 1.6 seconds and is ridiculously simple but has massive implications for this course. Since the most common shock spot is in the final lap of the course, you can often be pretty well protected from your dash food being shocked out of you. This means that you can use this shortcut to stay ahead of the people who've been staying in the back, saving the mushrooms for this shortcut. And while this doesn't mean that this intermission is 100% a front runner, it definitely makes that strategy a whole lot stronger. Special thanks to Range Rover for finding this shortcut. Great question block ruins to Salty Speedway. This crazy parkour shortcut can save you just under 1.5 seconds. Special thanks to Subspace79 for finding this shortcut. As you approach this section with the piranha plant in the first lap, start a charge jump and turn a bit to the right. Use your mushroom into the off-road and release your charge jump into this tree. Then bounce on this pole and get onto this wall. Detach from the wall, trick in the air, and get back to the road. This is a fantastic shortcut, saving 1.4 seconds, even though it really isn't that difficult. Strategically speaking, I think this shortcut can be great if you want to get a lead going into Salty Speedway, which I think is a great strategy since the course itself doesn't rely that heavily on mushrooms. The exact steps you need to take in this shortcut do take a bit of getting used to, so I recommend you practice it at least a little bit, but overall this is a fantastic shortcut that can be used both to gain a great lead and also to style all up in your opponent's faces like a darn tooted boss. Great question block ruins to Peach Beach. This awesome one mushroom shortcut can save you just under 2 full seconds. Special thanks to Jackforce, Not a Fish, and Luigi for finding the 3 variants of this shortcut. As you go down this hill in the second lap of this intermission, start a charge jump and release it into the off-road. Use your mushroom and start another charge jump upon landing, then release that charge jump onto this rock face. Detach from the wall, get onto the ground, and get back to the road. This is a fairly simple shortcut, but it is very worth your mushroom as it can save you a whopping 1.9 seconds. Plus, if you didn't want to use up your mushroom, there's actually a useful shroomless version of this shortcut. As you go down that same hill as before, start a charge jump and release it into this pole. Start another charge jump upon landing, then release it into this rock. Detach from the wall, start another charge jump, release it, and you're done. While this shortcut does save about a second less when compared to the mushroom version, it's still a great shortcut and a fantastic alternate version. And if that version wasn't enough, there's also a respawn version of this shortcut. Sure, it doesn't save as much time as the regular mushroom version, but hey, I like respawn shortcuts, they're cool, so I'm gonna include it anyway. Cheap falls to dandelion depths. This simple mushroom or dash food shortcut can save you an amazing 1.5 seconds. Firstly, right at the start of the race, grab this dash food from either of these two stations. Either one of them gives you second tier dash food, which basically gives you the same speed boost as a mushroom. Then as you get to this specific right turn near this item set, drift to the right, aiming just to the right of this rock. Use your dash food, still turning hard right, and get back to the road. This is a great shortcut, even though it's really simple and can be done with only one first place item. But Mr. Ramen, I hear you say, why would you use your dash food on this spot specifically when there's so many other turns to use your dash food on? Well, if we want to answer that question, then I guess it's time for Boring Nerd Statistics with Ben. Alright, welcome to Boring Nerd Statistics with Ben. Today we're answering the question, why wouldn't you just take one of the other shortcuts around this kind of area? And the simple answer is they save very different amounts of time. And I tested a lot of them, so I'll just go through those. And now, the first turn saves 0.7 seconds. The second turn also saves the same 0.7 seconds. The third turn, however, saves 1.2 seconds. The fourth turn, which is the one I'm covering, saves 1.5 seconds. And that is the absolute best place to use a dash food or single mushroom on this series of turns. And the fifth and final turn, I didn't test because it's so insignificant that I was pretty much positive that it would save barely any time. These 4 shortcuts combined can save you a whopping 4.1 seconds. Alright, that's the end of Boring Nerd Statistics with Ben. Hope you enjoyed that. In terms of strategy, this shortcut probably makes this intermission very good for the triple shroom star strategy. This is because you can use mushrooms on the third and fourth turn, then another mushroom on the opening shortcut of Dandelion Depth. Then you can have a very useful superstar from your second slot if you ever need it. But I do think this intermission can also be won while front running, since you can use dash food on that turn to try and stay ahead of the other drivers. Cheap falls to Starview Peak. This very simple dash food shortcut can save you more than a second. Right at the start of the race, head towards this left dash food station. Start a charge jump and grab some dash food, then release a left charge jump into the pole. Upon landing, use your dash food and start another charge jump. Release the charge jump into this tree and get back to the road. This is a really simple shortcut, but it can be very helpful if you're wanting to front run this intermission. I don't know if front running an intermission to Starview Peak is generally the best idea, but if you're wanting to go for a different strategy that a lot of others might, then this shortcut could be very well suited to you. Cheap falls to DK Pass. You can cut off this huge turn to save more than 2.5 seconds. As you get close to the entrance of DK Pass, start a charge jump and use a mushroom aiming near this orange flag. Once you get close to it, release your charge jump on this little hill and get on this rail. Then trick off fairly early, then trick off this ramp. Finally, trick off this snow patch and you're done. This is an amazing shortcut, saving 2.6 seconds with only one mushroom. Since this shortcut only requires a single mushroom, which you can get in fairly high placements, this shortcut actually might be great for semi-front running, as you stay a little bit in the back to actually get that mushroom. But of course, this shortcut is very good for shrooming or light bagging, as you can get a huge lead over the rest of the pack. But if you're wanting to just front run, then there's even a shroomless version of this shortcut, which saves a bit less time but is still fantastic. Special thanks to Mankalore for finding the shroomless version of this shortcut. Cheap falls to Wario's Galleon. This insane shortcut chain can save you just under 3 seconds. As you go through this item set at the start of the third lap, start a charge jump and release it onto this rail. Then left trick into this pole from the rail and start a left drift on the ground. As you get up to this small rock, release your mini turbo and quickly trick off the rock. Then trick off the middle of this larger rock. Get onto the ground, then start another left drift. Release a mini turbo as soon as you have it, wait a moment, then use a mushroom and start a charge jump at about the same time. Release your charge jump off of this small hill and trick off this ledge. Then go up this rock and trick off it. Start a charge jump upon landing and release it to the left. Then before leaving the off-road, start another charge jump and release it so you land right before this rock. Trick off the rock and then get onto the ground. Trick off this next rock and start a right drift when you land. Finally, release that right drift onto the road. This is an absolutely amazing shortcut chain, saving 2.7 seconds, which is absolutely huge with only one mushroom. It is very, very difficult, so I recommend practicing this one if you can. But overall, this shortcut is an absolute essential for front running or shrooming this intermission, so I recommend you try and learn it when you can. Special thanks to Tan-san too for finding this shortcut. Cheap falls to Salty Speedway. You can use a glider to get on this rail and save more than 2 full seconds. As you go through this glider section near the entrance to the main course, turn to the left in the air and get on this rail. Trick right off the rail, then trick in this glider ring. Immediately fly upwards so you can get the proper air time, which you need to do this shortcut correctly. Then as you get close to the rail near the start of the 3rd lap, get onto that rail, then trick off onto the next rail. Trick off that rail into this pole and then get onto this ledge. Trick off that ledge and you're done. This amazing shortcut saved about 2.1 seconds in my testing, but I think it could save even more if optimized. This shortcut is a little bit tricky, especially in terms of like getting the right air time and things like that, but it is very, very effective and not super difficult overall, so I recommend getting good at it if you want to lead going into Salty Speedway. Special thanks to Consent Special 2 for finding this shortcut. Cheap falls to Faraway Oasis. This really easy mushroom shortcut can save you just under 2 entire seconds. Right as you start to get close to Faraway Oasis, turn to the left and start a charge jump. Use your mushroom into the off-road and release your charge jump off of this rock. Then after landing, simply drift out of the off-road and mini turbo onto the road. This is a super simple shortcut, saving about 1.9 seconds compared to using a mushroom normally. It's very, very easy and can get you very far ahead, so I highly recommend using this shortcut even if you've never practiced it before. Special thanks to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut. Cheap falls to Peach Stadium. You can cut off this patch of off-road to save just under 1 second. As you leave Cheap Falls at the start of the race, start a charge jump and turn a bit to the right. Release your charge jump and bounce off this lamp. Use your mushroom through the off-road, trick off this rock, and get back to the road. This fairly easy shortcut can save right about 0.9 seconds, and it's quite effective if you want to lead right at the start of the race. Special thanks again to Toby MKW. Cheap falls to Choco Mountain. You can get in this helicopter and use a mushroom here to save 1.5 seconds. As you get close to the section where you pass Peach Stadium, get over onto this left path that has the helicopter. Then get in the helicopter and fly straight for a bit. As you're flying, you want to aim for the rightmost cherry blossom tree. Then as you get spat out of the helicopter and you're in the air, turn to the left a little bit to take a tighter line across the grass. Then once you get on the ground, use a mushroom through the off-road, trick off this ramp, and you're done. This is a great shortcut, saving just about 1.5 seconds. It is very easy. In terms of strategy, I think this is another intermission that works fairly well with the triple shroom star strategy. That's because you can use mushrooms for shortcuts in the first few laps, and then have a star and maybe even an extra mushroom for Choco Mountain itself. Plus, if you didn't want to use up a mushroom, you can do a simplified shroomless version of this shortcut, which still saves you 1 full second. Special thanks to Iconic Ian for showing me the shroomless version of this shortcut. Cheap falls to Moo Meadows. You can do this crazy shroomless shortcut to save a massive 1.5 seconds. Special thanks to MK Persian for finding this shortcut. As you go through this item set at the start of the second lap, start a charge jump and release it onto the middle of this rail. Trick left off the rail and do more left tricks in the air. After landing on the ground, trick off this bump in the off-road. Then trick off the left side of this rock to reduce airtime and get back to the road. This is a great shortcut, saving 1.5 seconds without requiring any items. It's not even that difficult either, so this is a really great shortcut for front running. Plus, on this intermission, you can also do the shortcut I showcased on Cheap Falls to Dandelion Depths, so there really are a lot of shortcuts on this route. Dandelion Depths to Boo Cinema. You can cut off this massive turn with only a single mushroom. After you pass this item set close to the start of the race, drift to the left and start a charge jump. Use a mushroom into the off-road, aiming for this group of trees. Release a left charge jump into this large tree and get onto the wall. Trick off, hit the middle of this tree and get back to the road. This shortcut saves about 1.6 seconds and is fantastic if you're wanting to get ahead on this intermission. It's a little bit tricky, especially since if you hit this tree too too high, you just won't bounce off of it for some reason. But overall, I think it's a risk that is probably worth taking. I think this intermission works quite well for shrooming, as there are several fairly obvious shroom spots that you can use to increase your lead over other people who might be bagging too much. Special thanks to Sekijor the Great for finding this shortcut. Dandelion Depths to Starview Peak. This single mushroom shortcut can save you a full second. Right at the very start of the race, after the rocket start, drift to the right and aim for the spot right in between this red sign and this further green sign. Release your drift and trick off this point on the ledge. Right as you land, use your mushroom, trick off this off-road patch, and you're done. This shortcut saved about a second for me, and it's really good if you want to lead at the start of the intermission. You might ask why you would even want a lead going to Starview Peak, since that course is more of a shroomer or bagger, but I would say it's a pretty decent strategy, since you can grab this second tier dash food and use it on the charge jump shortcut at Starview Peak to try and keep your spot in first. This shortcut can be done on a number of other intermissions from Dandelion Depths, so it can be super important to learn. Special thanks to MKW Cataquack Z for finding a version of this shortcut. Dandelion Depths to Sky High Sunday. You can use dash food to do this crazy shortcut and save almost 2 full seconds. Special thanks to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut. Near the start of the race, as you leave Dandelion Depths, get over to this Yoshi's and grab some dash food. This is second tier dash food, so its boost is the same as a mushroom. Then, as you get over to the ski slope section in the second lap, start a charge jump and use your dash food into the off-road. Release your charge jump at the top of this hill and hit this tree. Then hit this second tree, then this third tree, then this fourth tree, and get back to the road. This insane shortcut saves you about 1.8 seconds and is super fun to pull off. I know it does look pretty tricky, but it's actually not that difficult. Not to brag, but I got on the first try. Not to brag though, not to brag. This is very much worth the dash food it takes to pull it off, as it saves nearly 2 seconds. I actually think that this route could become one of the secret best front running intermissions, as there's a lot of other tech to pull off on this one as well. You may ask, hey, why wouldn't you just use a mushroom here, since that's easier to get and it means you wouldn't have to hold dash food for a lap and a half? Well, to that query, I would offer up the response that I don't wanna! Mushrooms are stupid! Dash food is fun and I don't wanna! Dandelion Depths to DK Pass. This insane shortcut chain can save you more than 2.5 seconds. As you get about halfway through the second lap, turn to the left and start a charge jump. Release a right charge jump onto this ramp, then trick off of it. Bounce off this pole, then bounce off this tree. After that, align yourself a bit to the right of this very small tree. Trick off the off-road patch, then trick off another off-road patch. Bounce off this tree and get on top of this log cabin. Trick off the roof, then trick off this log. After getting back to the road, start a charge jump and drive up to this stake. Release your charge jump into the stake, then bounce off this tree. Bounce off this next tree, then this next tree, start a charge jump and release it onto the road. This is a very complex shortcut chain, but it is very worth it, as it saves you a massive 2.7 seconds. Some of the alignment you need to get is pretty tricky and can have brutal consequences if you fail it, but it is extremely rewarding, so I recommend you try to get good at it. Special thanks to Sweetie Breezy for finding this shortcut. Dandelion Depths to Cheap Falls. You can do the Cheap Falls Tarzan shortcut on an intermission. As you get up to this giant waterfall section, you want to make sure you have a good amount of coins so that the shortcut actually works. Get over to the right side of the waterfall and trick off of it. Land on this smaller waterfall and trick off of it onto this stone ramp. Trick off the edge of the ramp, wait a moment, then left trick onto the wall. Detach from the wall and do a trick in the air. Bounce off this tree, and then this tree. Finally, get onto this ledge, drift off, trick in the air, and you're done. This shortcut can save you about 3.3 seconds and can give you a fantastic advantage going into Cheap Falls. I'm not counting it as the big shortcut for Dandelion Depths, since it's basically just a shortcut that you can already do on Cheap Falls, but it does save more time than any other Dandelion Depths intermission shortcut that I'm showcasing, and it can also be done in the Moon Rally, so it can be super important to learn. Special thanks to Gigglenut for finding this shortcut, and to Liam for making a tutorial on how to actually do the Tarzan shortcut, because I I was terrible at it before. Dandelion Depths to Moo Moo Meadows. This awesome feather shortcut can save you just under 1.5 seconds. Near the start of the race, charge jump onto this grind rail. Then as you keep driving on the rail, keep tricking on it in ways that speed you up and optimize turns and things like that. Then after tricking right onto this rail, trick left off of it and use your feather. Trick in the air and bounce off this pole. Then after driving in the off-road for a moment, trick off the right side of this rock. After that, trick off this ledge, then off this boost panel. Then after flying through the air, get on this rail. Trick once, trick off, and you're done. This is a great shortcut, saving about 1.25 seconds in my testing. It can be really good for front running. In fact, I'm not sure, but I think it might be able to save even more if optimized, because I might have made a few mistakes. Special thanks to TCPie for finding this shortcut. Dandelion Depths to Toad's Factory. This incredible shortcut chain can save you just under 3 full seconds. As you get up to this item set during lap 2 of the intermission, start a charge jump and release it onto this rail. Then trick right and bounce off this tree. Upon landing, use your mushroom and start a right drift. Mini turbo trick off this log pile, then start a charge jump and release it onto this rail. Trick left off the rail, then once you get to this next grass patch, start another charge jump. Release a neutral charge jump into the grass, then use your mushroom and start another charge jump. Release that charge jump and bounce off this cow, then start another charge jump upon landing. Release that charge jump neutrally, then drive to the left, go out of bounds, and get back to the road. This amazing shortcut chain saves 2.9 seconds, which is absolutely fantastic. The only downside I see is that item smuggling isn't technically possible since you lose your items in the respawn, but I don't think that's much of a problem, as I think front-running Toad's Factory with a big lead works very well. This shortcut completely reshapes this intermission from one of the best baggers to an incredible shroomer. Special thanks to Yosh Alamo and Luigi for finding the 2 parts of this shortcut. Dandelion Depths to Mario Circuit. This 2 mushroom shortcut chain can save you a massive 2.5 seconds. As you pass this item set during lap 2, start a charge jump and release it onto this rail. Trick right into this pole, drift right for a moment, then use a mushroom and start a charge jump. At the end of your boost, release the charge jump to preserve your momentum, then start another charge jump upon landing. Use your second mushroom, then align yourself with this specific point on the wall. As you get up to the wall, release your charge jump and clip the wall. Then trick in the air and get back to the road. This is an awesome shortcut, saving 2.5 seconds as you get up to Mario Circuit. If you're item smuggling, then this means you can potentially bring some great items into Mario Circuit, making that strategy super effective on this intermission. This shortcut is a bit tricky, especially in relation to that wall clip, but overall this is a really great shortcut for when you want to lead going into the main course. Special thanks to Input15 for finding this shortcut. Dandelion Depths to Acorn Heights. You can do this 2 mushroom shortcut to cut off this large grass patch. Special thanks again to Toby MKW. As you get up to these rocks near Acorn Heights, use a mushroom and trick off this rock. Trick off this next rock and use your next mushroom on the ground. Trick off this off-road patch and get back to the water. This is a very simple shortcut, saving about 0.6 seconds. It's very easy, so I would recommend going for it even if you've never tried it before. This shortcut makes this intermission even better than it was before, although it was already my favorite, obviously.
Like, look at that! Oh, whoa! And looky over there! Wow! This intermission is just so fire, dude. This intermission is Riz.
Boo Cinema to Starview Peak. This incredible shroomer shortcut chain can save you just under 4 full seconds. Firstly, at the start of the race, right after your rocket start, drift to the right and do a mini turbo edge trick over this gap. Start a left drift when you land, aiming for this little crack in the boardwalk. Mini turbo trick off of the boardwalk, then bounce off these 2 trees. Bounce off this pole, dodge some swoops, get back on the boardwalk and drift to the left. Then mini turbo trick again into this pole. Upon landing, drift to the left for a split second and trick off this ramp. Start a charge jump when you land and release it to the left, hitting this pole. Land, then trick off this ramp. Then you need to align yourself just to the right side of this pole. Trick off, bounce off the pole, and bounce off this tree. Turn a bit to the left in the air, then land and trick off this little gap. Then start a charge jump, turn hard right, and release a right charge jump into this tree. Then just fly through the air and get back to the road. This shortcut saves an incredible 3.8 seconds and doesn't even require any item. I think this shortcut may work best for item smuggling, as you can get great items, pull off this shortcut chain as well as some mushroom ones throughout the course, and then possibly have another item left over to take the charge jump shortcut on Starview Peak. But even so, if you use this shortcut, then I think this intermission can work quite well for front running, simply for the reason that you'll be so far ahead that the charge jump shortcut in the last lap might not even matter that much. Oh, and now for the other thing that I wanted to mention. It is incredibly difficult. I am not joking at all when I say that I spent 2.5 to maybe 3 hours trying to get this one clip. I've failed probably hundreds of times, and I now feel that I know Boost Cinema to Starview Peak better than I know myself on a deeply psychological level. In my opinion, this is probably one of the most difficult shortcut chains in this entire game. There is just so much that can go wrong, but if you can somehow get all of this exactly right, then it can give you a fantastic advantage on this intermission. Plus, you can also do the first shortcut in this chain on Boost Cinema to Dry Bones Burnout or Acorn Heights, and isn't that just swell? Special thanks to Input15 for finding this shortcut chain, and to MK Persian for finding the last part. Boo Cinema to Dandelion Depth. You can bounce off 4 trees in a row to save almost 1.5 seconds. As you pass this item set in the first lap, start a charge jump and aim in between these 2 gate posts. Then mushroom into the off-road and release your charge jump into this tree. Go straight in the air and hit this second tree. Then quickly turn a bit to the left and hit this third tree. Turn hard right, hit this 4th tree, and get back to the road. This is a fairly simple mushroom shortcut, but it is very effective, saving you 1.3 seconds. There are a few different versions of this shortcut that like other people have found, but I think this is probably the easiest, fastest, and best in terms of items. I recommend this shortcut if you're item smuggling or using the triple shroom star strategy, as it means that at best you can take 2 mushrooms and a superstar into the opening shortcut of Dandelion Depths. Boo Cinema to Mario Circuit. This very simple mushroom shortcut can save you more than a second. Just after you've entered the second lap of the intermission, drift to the right and start a charge jump. Release it into the off-road, then mushroom and start a charge jump when you land. Release that charge jump at the end of your boost, then drift back onto the road. This is a very simple shortcut, but the fact that it saves more than a second over using a mushroom normally can make it very good for online lobbies. I recommend using this shortcut if you're trying to bring mushrooms into Mario Circuit, which I think is a pretty good strategy. If you're not wanting to use up a mushroom, you can also use this shroomless version of the shortcut if you're happy saving a smaller amount of time. I do still think it is worth going for shroomless, it just saves a lot less time. You can also do the tree bounce shortcut from Boo Cinema to Dandelion Depths on this intermission, so that can be very useful as well if you want to save about 2.5 seconds with the 2 cuts combined. Special thanks to Mankalore for finding the shroomless version of this shortcut. Boo Cinema to Dry Bones Burnout. You can save almost 2 full seconds by going out of bounds. As you go through the Ghost Valley section, drift hard left, but then start drifting right. You want to make sure you're aiming for the leftmost double item box. Charge up an orange mini turbo and release it in the air as you go over the ramp. Start a charge jump immediately upon landing, then release it to the right into this pole. Get over to the right of this pole, go out of bounds, and get back to the road. This respawn shortcut can save you about 1.8 seconds and is very difficult, so I recommend you practice it. Pretty much everything about this shortcut is very precise. The main thing is that if you can't get a super mini turbo, you won't have the momentum you need to get the right respawn. That's why I say you should turn hard left at the start, because that allows you to turn harder right and charge up your super mini turbo faster. I would say this intermission is a great front runner, as there are many other shroomless shortcuts. Like seriously, this is one of the best intermissions for Nisks, like this version of Sweetie Breezy's figure 8 respawn shortcut that I found, but I still think this is the best shortcut of the lot. Also, there's even a feather version of this shortcut, which is way easier, so I recommend you try that one out as well. Special thanks to Luigi for finding a respawn shortcut in this area, as well as the feather version, and to Sweetie Breezy for finding the optimized version of the respawn. Boo Cinema to Acorn Heights. This single mushroom shortcut chain can save you a massive 3 whole seconds. Special thanks to Astral Nick and Umbreon360 for finding the 2 parts of this shortcut. As you get up to the giant log in the second lap, start a charge jump and align yourself with this large clump of grass. Release it onto that specific point on the wall, then trick off here. Turn right and do some tricks in the air, but don't attach to the wall. Land on the jutting out bit of the log, then trick off of it. Wait a moment, get on the wall pretty low, and then trick off. Do a bunch of left tricks in the air and land back on the road. Start a chance jump and use a mushroom into the off-road. At the end of your boost, release your chance jump into this pole. Land right before this rock, trick off the side, and get back to the road. Yes, this shortcut saves a full 3 seconds and is really effective if you want to front run Acorn Heights once you get there. It is very tricky though, and there are some specific things that you might need to get down. Firstly, the timing of the first shortcut is very specific. You need to make sure you get on the wall at this clump of grass like I mentioned, and then you need to get off the wall at this specific point. Also, at the end of the second shortcut, you need to make sure you miss both this pole and this stake, otherwise you'll get a bunch of airtime, which is big dumb stupid. But if you can get all of this right, then you'll be set up very well to win on Acorn Heights. Plus, you can also do the respawn shortcut on Dry Bones Burnout to boost Cinema on this intermission, which is great. It's just darn tootin' awesome. This is one of the most beloved intermissions in the entire game, so I hope that the shortcuts I've showcased make you enjoy even more. Dry Bones Burnout to Acorn Heights. You can pull off this crazy shroomless shortcut to save just under 3 whole seconds. At the start of the race, drift to the right and mini-turbo trick off this ramp. Start a charge jump when you land on the next ramp and release it neutrally towards the right. Bounce on this pole and get on this wall. Detach from the wall, trick in the air a bit, and get back to the road. This is a really great shortcut, saving you 2.8 seconds without requiring any item. It is pretty inconsistent, meaning that even if it seems you've done everything right, one tiny little mistake can cause you to fail the entire shortcut. So I recommend you practice it a bit and feel it out for yourself to find what timing and things work for you. Special thanks to MK Matthew for introducing me to this shortcut. Dry Bones Burnout to Boo Cinema. You can charge jump off the road onto a different path to save 1.5 seconds. As you get to the figure 8 section, take the right path and drive on it for a bit. Then after drifting to the left, start a charge jump and aim for this little stalk thing. Release a neutral charge jump into it and clip the fence. Trick in the air and get back to the road. This is a really fun shortcut and it has a great time save of 1.5 seconds. If you're wondering why I didn't use this version of the shortcut, it's because the version I did use is just a little bit faster and in my experience more consistent. This shortcut, in addition to just being fun to pull off, can give you a great upper hand on this course, setting you up well to run. Plus, you can also do the shortcut I showcased on Dry Bones Burnout to Acorn Heights on this intermission, making this whole route seemingly quite viable for front running. Special thanks to Bolt for finding this shortcut. Dry Bones Burnout to Mario Circuit. This charge jump shortcut can save you just over 1.5 seconds. As you get up to the entrance of Mario Circuit, start a charge jump and line up with the rightmost arrow of the boost panels. As you hit the boost panels, turn to the left and release a left charge jump. Then hit this pole and get on this barricade. Trick off and you're done. This is quite a tricky shortcut, but it's worth it as it saves you a fantastic 1.6 seconds. It is very precise, so on that last lap specifically, it might be better to skip the barricade and just jump into the off-road, because that is way easier and it still counts you as crossing the finish line. Special thanks to... Does anybody know who found this shortcut? I'd like to shake his hand. Dry Bones Burnout to Moo Moo Meadow. This crazy shortcut can save you more than 3 full seconds. As you get up to this corner near the start of the intermission, start a charge jump and steer to the left, aligning yourself with this candle. Charge jump neutrally after hitting the candle, then bounce off the bottom of this pole. Steer a little to the right, then once you hit the ground, use a mushroom. Trick off this second gravestone and then land in the off-road. Get on the pavement, trick off the side of this ramp, and you're done. This is a fantastic shortcut, saving taking you 3.4 seconds without being particularly difficult. There's also another version which is much more difficult and saves less time, but doesn't require any mushroom. As you get up to that same turn as before, start a charge jump and aim for the middle of these 3 candles. After hitting the candle, charge jump to the right and bounce off the right side of this pillar. Bounce off the left side of this pole, then the right side of this pole. Switch a little between turning right and not touching the control stick while you're in the air. Land on this gravestone, trick off, hit this next stone and trick in the air. Land before this stone, trick off, get back onto the normal pavement, trick off the side of this ramp and get back to the road. This is quite a complex shortcut and doesn't save as much time as the shrooming version, but can still save a massive 1.7 seconds. One thing that I think is necessary to doing the shortcut right is hitting the correct sides of these 2 poles. Remember, you're supposed to hit the left side of this first pole, then the right side of the second. I think that this is a fantastic intermission for shrooming, as doing that means you can take the mushroom version of this shortcut as well as some extra mushroom shortcuts throughout the course. Plus, you can also do this shortcut on Drybone's Burnout to Mario Circuit, which is just fine and dandy, ain't it? Special thanks to Toby MKW for this shortcut, Mangalore for the shroomless version, and Luigi for the optimized shroomless version. Drybone's Burnout to Toad's Factory. You can get on this ledge to skip a bunch of this water section. As you approach Toad's Factory in the second lap, go through this boost ring and then trick off this rock. Get up on this raised ledge and drift to the left around this corner. Stay on the ledge for a bit, then trick off and you're done. This shortcut only saves 0.3 seconds, but it's pretty easy, so I think it's worth going for when you can. It does also keep you out of the pack for a bit, so there's not much reason to not go for it. It is a little bit tricky, especially in terms of drifting around this corner, but it's easy enough to get used to if you practice it even a little bit. Special thanks to Mangalore for finding this shortcut. Drybone's Burnout to Wario Stadium. You can use this really complex shortcut to save more than 1.5 seconds. As you get up to this bridge in lap 3, move over to this right section behind this right rail. Then after the item, trick off the ledge to the right and bounce on this pole. Get on this yellow barricade and trick off into this tree. Then upon landing, use your mushroom, trick off the side of this rock and you're done. This shortcut can save about 1.6 seconds and is great if you want a lead going into backwards Wario Stadium. But like I said before, this shortcut is very complex. There's lots of different ways to fail it, the main one being getting on this barricading correctly, but there are many other, much more annoying ways. But it can put you in a great position for backwards Wario Stadium, which I think is an even better frontrunner than normal Wario Stadium. Special thanks to Daymare for finding this shortcut. Drybone's Burnout to Airship Fortress. This really easy mushroom shortcut can save you more than a full second. As you leave Drybone's Burnout at the start of the race, start a charge jump and use a mushroom into the off-road. Release your charge jump at the top of this rock, bounce off this pole, and you're done. This shortcut is super easy, barely an inconvenience, and it saves a full 1.2 seconds. Although this shortcut doesn't seem all that consequential, it's actually one of the only super significant shortcuts before you get to Airship Fortress, so getting it right might actually help you keep your spot at the front until you get to what is pretty much the best front-running track. Drybone's Burnout to Bowser's Castle. This very simple shortcut can save you more than 2 full seconds. As you enter the Fishbone Springs section, head over to the right side of the water, which is towards this bit of land. Then trick off this little ramp and go in the water. Trick out of the water, then trick off this other ramp. Steer a little to the left and trick off, then trick out of the water again. Get on this little hill and drive on that for a few moments until you're around this corner. Then after that, trick off into the water again and you're done. This shortcut saves 2.2 seconds and is super simple, so I'd recommend you take it every time you play this intermission. This shortcut can be very important as Bowser's Castle itself is one of the best front-running tracks. You might suggest that this doesn't really count as a shortcut, more as a fast strategy, and hey, please don't suggest that because I have no argument against it. Moo Moo Meadows to Mario Circuit. This incredible shortcut can save you an absolutely massive 6.5 seconds. Very soon after the start of the race, grab triple mushrooms and a star from this item set. Then as you leave Moo Moo Meadows, start a charge jump and mushroom through this fence. Release your charge jump at this dark green hill, then use another mushroom when you land. Trick off this little hill, wait for a second, start a charge jump and use a mushroom. Release your charge jump off of this hill, then use use your superstar when you land. Trick off this little hill, then keep going through the off-road with your star for a few moments. Then start a charge jump here, release it at this hill, and you're done. This shortcut saves 6.6 seconds over using those items normally, and is one of the best shortcuts in the entire game. It is a bit more difficult than it looks. It's not just like, oh, use your items here, and then you win. Yay! There is genuine complexity, and there are a good amount of ways you can fail it, but if you can get it right, then it will almost undoubtedly put you way ahead of the majority of the pack, making this one of the ultimate shroomers. This can also be done on Moo Moo Meadows to Dry Bones Burnout, so it's super important for that too, and it's even in the Golden Rally, so it can be incredibly important to learn if you want to win. Special thanks again to Luigi for finding this shortcut. Moo Moo Meadows to Dandelion Depths. You can do this double cow bounce shortcut to save more than a second. As you go over this hill as you leave Moo Moo Meadows, start a charge jump when you land and use a mushroom towards this cow. Release your charge jump neutrally and bounce off this cow, then bounce off this second cow and get on this rail. Trick on the rail as soon as you get on it, then trick off, clip this fence, and get back to the road. This is a really great shortcut, saving you 1.1 seconds with just one mushroom. This shortcut is great for when you want to get a lead at the start of the intermission, although I would recommend bringing some good items for later on in the route, so I think it's probably best to use this shortcut when shrooming or using the triple shroom star strategy. Special thanks to Sekajor for finding this shortcut. Moo Moo Meadows to DK Pass. This crazy dash food shortcut can save you just under 2.5 seconds. As you get up to this Yoshi's in the third lap, drive into it and grab this dash food. Then shortly after, as you get up to this snow patch, drift to the right and start a charge jump. Go on the off-road for just a moment, then use your dash food. Release your charge jump at the end of your boost, then bounce off this tree. Trick to the right a bit in the air and go over this log cabin. After you land, trick off this log and you're done. This shortcut saves a whopping 2.4 seconds and is a perfect shortcut for front running. However, I would generally recommend shrooming this intermission, as there are a few great mushroom shortcuts throughout the course, but in pretty much every situation, I would definitely recommend being in the front by the time you get to the dash food shortcut. You can also do this shortcut on Dandelion Depths to DK Pass, but for some reason, you can't do its shortcut on this intermission. It's weird and I don't know why. Special thanks to Liam for introducing me to this shortcut. Moo Moo Meadows to Cheap Falls. You can get on this secret path to save more than 2 seconds. As you get up to this item set in the second lap, steer to the left, start a charge jump and use a mushroom. Get onto this stone path and stay on it for a bit. Then as you get to the end of the water section, go as far to the right as you can, slip in between these barricades, trick off and you're done. This is a fantastic shortcut, saving 2.3 seconds with only a single mushroom. It's pretty difficult, mostly because it is exceptionally easy to accidentally go out of bounds, but it's also quite consistent, so if you practice it a little bit, I reckon you can get it pretty much every time. This shortcut is probably best used when shrooming, but if you think you're pretty good at Cheap Falls and you can get a mushroom beforehand, then I think it can be a very good front-running shortcut. Special thanks to Luigi for finding this shortcut. Moo Moo Meadows to Peach Stadium. This really simple dash food shortcut can save you more than a second. As you get up to the plaza section before Peach Stadium, grab both of these two dash food items on the left or right side. Then, as you get up to this turn in Peach Stadium, drift to the right, use both your dash foods, and you're done. This really easy shortcut saves 1.2 seconds and is great when you're trying to stay ahead of the baggers. This is a really great shortcut, and I think it might be able to make this intermission pretty viable for front running. It is also in the heart rally, so it can be quite important to learn. Moo Moo Meadows to Crown City. This really technical shortcut can save you almost 2 full seconds. As you get up to the pier in the final lap, trick from this ramp onto this rail. Then as soon as you get to this wrench on the rail, trick left off of it. Get on this new rail, then immediately trick left. Get on this rail, trick left again, use your mushroom through the off-road, trick off this small ramp, and you're done. This shortcut can save some really good time at the end of Ocean Crown City, specifically about 1.7 seconds. There is also a shroomless version, which saves about a second less, but is still good if you're trying to front run. Plus, you can also do this shortcut on Peach Stadium to Crown City or Choco Mountain to Crown City. Special thanks to Gigglenut for showcasing this shortcut, and thanks again to Liam for showcasing the shroomless version. Moo Moo Meadows to Choco Mountain. This double mushroom shortcut can save you 1.5 seconds. Near the start of the route as you leave Moo Moo Meadows, start a charge jump and use a mushroom through this fence. Release a neutral charge jump into this tree. After getting on the ground, wait a moment, then start a charge jump and use a mushroom. Release your charge jump into the left side of this tree, bounce off this pole, get on this fence, trick to the right off of it, and you're done. Although it's a bit difficult, this shortcut can save 1.5 seconds, so it's probably worth going for. I would recommend the triple mushroom star strategy when using this shortcut, as a shock dodge item can be quite important for Choco Mountain itself. Special thanks to MKW Cataquack Z for finding a version of this shortcut. Moo Moo Meadows to Toad's Factory. This really cool shroomless shortcut can save you more than 1.5 seconds. As you get up to this section in the second lap, drift to the right, hit this boost panel and mini turbo trick off this ledge. Then hit this tree, fly through the air and hit this second trick. Then get back onto the road and you're done. This is a pretty simple shortcut, but it can save you 1.6 seconds. It's sort of tricky, but super helpful for front running, so I recommend you practice it at least a little bit. Special thanks to MK Matthew for finding this shortcut. Moo Moo Meadows to Dry Bones Burnout. This insane shortcut chain can save you more than 3 full seconds. Special thanks to Mankalore and Luigi for finding this shortcut chain. While you're in lap 2 of this intermission, go towards this Yoshi's and start a charge jump. Grab some dash food and release your charge jump to the left into this pole. Start another charge jump when you land, then release it. After driving the off-road for a little bit, use your dash food and trick off this bump slightly beyond this large tree. Turn hard left for a second, then trick off this bump. Start a charge jump upon landing, then release it onto this rail. Stay on the rail for a bit, then trick off into this pole. Drive in the off-road for a moment, trick off this bump, turn left, then trick off this next bump. Start a charge jump when you land, turn a bit to the left, then release it into this pole. Then after landing, drive a fair bit beyond this pole, go out of bounds, and get put back on the road. This is an amazing shortcut, saving 3.1 seconds in my testing and only requiring 1 first place item. The main downside is that it is ridiculously difficult. There are so many ways to fail it, but it is certainly doable if you're someone who's ridiculously talented, like, I don't know, someone like me, I guess. Blundering this. Oh, what am I doing? Choco Mountain to Toad's Factory. This crazy shortcut can save you just under 3 full seconds. As you get up to this section in the second lap, drive towards this specific boost panel. Then start a charge jump and at the top of the ramp, release it to the right. Get onto and detach from this wall quickly, then do some right tricks in the air to realign yourself. Use a mushroom when you get to the off-road, then trick off this cliffside and get back to the road. This fantastic shortcut can save you 2.8 seconds and is perfect for getting a lead going into Toad's Factory. If you don't have a mushroom though, you can also do this shroomless shortcut I showcased on Moo Moo Meadows to Toad's Factory to still save more than 1.5 seconds. Special thanks to Umbreon360 for inspiring this shortcut. Choco Mountain to Moo Moo Meadows. You can use dash food at this regular shortcut to save more than 2 seconds. As you get up to this Yoshi's in the second lap, drift to the left into it and grab some dash food. Then as you get up to this spot in Moo Moo Meadows, start a charge jump and align yourself with this tree at about this angle. Use your dash food, release your charge jump, bounce off this tree, wait a moment, get on this rail, trick off, and you're done. This shortcut saved about 2.3 seconds in my testing and may even be able to save more with better performance and optimization. Since there is a several mushroom shortcut near the end of the second lap on this intermission, this might not be the most reasonable shortcut to go for. But if you're really wanting to front run this intermission, which can work, then this shortcut may just be for you. Choco Mountain to Cheap Fall. This insane shortcut can save you 4.5 seconds. As you get up to these coins near Peach Stadium, start a charge jump and aim for this pole. Release a right charge jump into the pole, then use a mushroom and start a charge jump when you land, aiming for this rightmost tree. Release your charge jump and bounce off the tree. Drive in the off-road for a bit, then once you get to this point on the dark green hill, use your second mushroom and stick close to the right. Trick off this hill and bounce off this pole. Turn left in the air, start a charge jump when you land, then release it and get back to the road. This amazing shortcut can save you 4.5 seconds and is fantastic for shrooming. I cannot think of any good reason that you would not want to take this shortcut. There's not really any better shortcuts except on Cheap Cheap Falls itself. And even if you don't have enough mushrooms, there is even a shroomless respawn version, which I will teach you now. As you get up to those same coins as before, start a charge jump and release it into this pole. When you get on the ground, start a charge jump and release it into this tree. Turn to the right and start another charge jump when you land. Release it, drive in the off-road for a bit, drift to the right, go out of bounds, and get put back on the road. This shortcut saves 2.3 seconds and is a great alternative to the double mushroom version. These shortcuts make this course great for both shrooming or front running, so I would say those are definitely the most optimal strategies. Take that, stinky poo-poo bagging! Special thanks to Shortcat for finding this shortcut and to Luigi for finding the respawn version. Choco Mountain to Peach Stadium. You can do this dash food respawn shortcut to save just under 2 seconds. As you get up to this Yoshi's in the first lap, drift into it and grab some dash food. Then just a few moments later, as you get up to the second lap, start a charge jump, turn a bit to the left and release it into this metal pole. Turn a bit more to the left in the air, get on the ground and trick off this rock. After landing, drift to the left, use your dash food and trick off this ramp. After landing, bump into these two barricades, go out of bounds and get put back on the road. This is a really awesome shortcut, saving 1.8 seconds without using a single mushroom. This shortcut is in the Acorn Rally, so it can be essential to learn for that, and it's just generally very good if you want to win on this intermission while front running. Special thanks to LJ Marv for finding this shortcut. Choco Mountain to Crown City. This super simple mushroom shortcut can save you a massive 2 full seconds. As you get close to this Yoshi's in the first lap, start a charge jump and then release it into this stage. Start another charge jump when you get onto the ground, wait a moment, then use your mushroom. At the end of your boost, release your charge jump, bounce off this tree, trick off this ramp, and you're done. Yes, this can save you a massive 2 seconds and is really easy once you get the gist of it. I think this shortcut also works strategically because there aren't that many great mushroom shortcuts for the rest of the course excluding the third lap. Plus, you can also do a respawn version of this shortcut, which is fairly complicated but works well if you get a handle on it. Plus, you can also do the beach shortcut that I showcased on Moo Moo Meadows to Crown City on this intermission, since they both share the same variant of Crown City. Special thanks to Iconic Ian for finding a version of the mushroom shortcut, and thanks again to Luigi for finding the shroomless respawn version. Choco Mountain to Whistlestop Summit. This amazing shortcut can save you more than 4 seconds. Just after you enter the second lap, start a charge jump and align yourself with this mud pile. Release your charge jump into the grass, then use your mushroom and start another charge jump. Release that charge jump on this part of the mud, fly through the air, then use another mushroom and start a charge jump when you land. Release the charge jump, use a mushroom and start another charge jump. Release that charge jump right at the edge of this cliff and get back to the road. This fantastic shortcut saves a massive 4.6 seconds, making it one of the best shortcuts on any intermission. But sadly, since this intermission does have a big old double mushroom shortcut right at the end, this one's probably just a bagger. Yeah, I guess this is just another stupid bagging intermission that nobody likes and you can't even hope to win while front running. That is, it would be if I hadn't just found this super cool dash food and shroomless shortcut that saves just under 2 seconds. Yeah! To do it, start a charge jump here and release it onto this rock. Trick off the rock into the water, then trick out of the water, then trick off this hill onto the road. Keep on just following the road for a few moments until you get up to this turn. After releasing your drift, start a charge jump and turn hard left. Then release that charge jump and bounce on this armadillo. Drive in the off-road for a moment, use your dash food, trick off this hill, and you're done. This shortcut chain can save you a massive 1.9 seconds and is absolutely perfect for front running. As a result of this shortcut chain, the triple shroom star strategy and shrooming are both perfectly viable, although I probably would recommend the triple shroom star strategy over shrooming. That way you can use the triple mushroom shortcut, then have the star just for recovery, a blue shell dodge, some other shortcuts, I don't know, something like that. And hey, if you could somehow bring that superstar all the way to Whistlestop Summit, then you could have a massive lead on your hands. Special thanks to Cadence MK for inspiring this shortcut. Choco Mountain to Mario Bros Circuit. You can do this shroomless shortcut to save more than 2 seconds. Right at the start of the race after your rocket start, trick off this ramp, then start a charge jump when you land. Release it neutrally towards the right, then bounce off this pole. Stay off the main road for a moment so you can trick off this mini ramp. Start a charge jump when you land, then release it into this pole. Get on this colored barricade, stay on for a second, then trick off. Trick again off this mini ramp, trick off this mini ramp, and you're done. This is a pretty complex shortcut, but it's worth it as it can save you 2.2 seconds right at the start of the race. It's pretty difficult, but only if you want to get it exactly right. The method is quite flexible and you can do it a lot of different ways, and most likely it'll still save a lot of time. Plus, front running is a pretty good strategy from here on out, as there are a lot of good shroomless shortcuts on the rest of this intermission. Special thanks to Bolt for finding this shortcut. Choco Mountain to Shy Guy Bazaar. You can pull off this respawn shortcut to save a massive 2 full seconds. As you get up to this section in the second lap, start a charge jump and align yourself with this point on the rail where these two individual rails connect. Get onto the rail, then quickly trick to the right into this cactus. Bounce off this pole, then turn pretty hard left. Then turn a bit to the right, go out of bounds, and get put back on the road. This is a fantastic shortcut, saving 2.2 seconds without using any item. You can also do a non-respawn version of this shortcut to save 1.1 seconds, and you can even do a dash food shortcut to save 1.6 seconds, so how darn tooting neat is that? Special thanks to Input 15 for finding the respawn version, and to Trainer 11 for finding the dash food version. Choco Mountain to Wario Stadium. This triple mushroom shortcut chain can save you more than 3 seconds. As you get up to this turn near Wario Stadium, start a charge jump and use a mushroom into the off-road. Release your charge jump and bounce off this Goomba. Then, after getting back to the road, drift to the right, grab an item, and trick off this rock. Trick off this next rock, then start a charge jump and use a mushroom into the off-road. Release your charge jump and get on this rail. Trick left off the rail and go in between these two gates. Mushroom through the off-road, trick off this hill, and get back to the road. This awesome shortcut chain can save you 3.1 seconds and is practically essential for shrooming this intermission. This intermission is probably best for the triple shroom star strategy, as you can use 3 mushrooms for this shortcut and then a star through the opening shortcut of Wario Stadium. Special thanks to Trainer 11 for finding the first part of this shortcut, and to Yosh Alamo for finding a version of the second part. Choco Mountain to Bowser's Castle. This crazy shortcut can save you more than 2 full seconds. After you trick off this hill at the start of the second lap, start a charge jump when you land and release it to the right into this pole. When you land, use a mushroom and start a charge jump, then release it and bounce on this thin tree. Bounce on this other tree and get back to the road. This is a huge shortcut, saving you 2.2 seconds with just a single mushroom. I think this shortcut is super applicable to the route you're playing because there aren't that many great shortcuts. So if you're good at Bowser's Castle, then this can give you a great advantage for that course. Which works just dandy for me because I'm really good at Bowser's Castle, right? Toad's Factory to Dry Bones Burnout. You can skip this huge water section using this secret platform. Right at the start of the race after your rocket start, turn to the right and start a charge jump. Keep turning right, then turn left to get the correct alignment. Release a left charge jump and get on this platform. Trick off this ramp, then keep going down this path. Start a charge jump, then release it to the right into this pole. Finally, trick off this platform into the water and you're done. This is a great shortcut, saving you 1.1 seconds right at the start of the race. The best way I can describe this shortcut is probably finicky. The water physics make the angle of the charge jump a bit janky to control, so it is a bit tricky. But with a good bit of practice, I think you can get this shortcut pretty consistently. Plus, it is very, very fun, so I will go for it no matter how many times I inevitably fail it and it ruins my race. Toad's Factory to Acorn Heights. This simple mushroom shortcut can save you almost 1.5 seconds. As you get fairly close to Acorn Heights, start a charge jump and release it onto this rail. Quickly trick off, then start another charge jump and use a mushroom, aiming for this rightmost tree thing. Release your charge jump, bounce off the tree, and get back to the road. This shortcut can save you about 1.4 seconds and is quite easy, so I would say it's pretty much always worth going for. Also, Acorn Heights can be a great frontrunner, so this shortcut works well strategically. Special thanks to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut. Toad's Factory to Mario Circuit. This crazy shroomless shortcut can save you more than 3.5 seconds. As you leave Toad's Factory right at the start of the route, start a charge jump and release it onto this rail. Trick on the rail, then trick to the left. Trick left again fairly quickly, trick left a bit in the air, and hit this pole. Get onto this pavement and drive straight for a moment. Then as you get to these pallets and things, start a charge jump and release it into this pole. Get into the water, trick out, start a charge jump, release it to the right, and drift back onto the road. This shortcut saves you a whopping 3.5 seconds and requires no items whatsoever. It is fairly difficult, as I would know, since I am bad at it. I have failed many times, mostly by just jumping into the water for no apparent reason. So I would recommend practicing it a little bit before just jumping into it like a big dum-dum head. Plus, you can also do the shortcut I showcased on Moo Moo Meadows to Dry Bones Burnout on this route, which, if you recall, took no items and saved more than 3 seconds. So in theory, this intermission could be very good for front running as long as you're actually good at these shortcuts. Plus, you can also do this shortcut on Toad's Factory to Dandelion Depths, which is super duper cool. Special thanks to Liam for finding this shortcut, or at least I think it was him, I'm not sure. Toad's Factory to Dandelion Depths. You can do this double mushroom respawn shortcut to save 1.5 seconds. As you enter the second lap of this route, start a charge jump, turn to the right, and release it into this grass patch. Start another charge jump and use a mushroom. Turn a bit to the left, then to the right, and then release your charge jump. Start another charge jump and use your second mushroom. Turn hard right, release a right charge jump, trick off this platform, quickly go out of bounds, and get put back on the road. This saved about 1.5 seconds in my testing, so it's really good for shrooming. It is quite tricky, and I would recommend you test how it handles for you before just going for it in a race. But overall, it's a great shortcut, it's wicked cool, and totally dope, my dude. Special thanks to Luigi for finding this shortcut. Toad's Factory to Moo Moo Meadows. You can use dash food to pull off this crazy shortcut. As you get up to this Yoshi's near the start of the race, drive into it and grab some dash food. Then start driving towards this metal sign and start a charge jump. Then release your charge jump into the sign and drive in the grass for a bit. Start a charge jump, and just as you get close to the edge of this barricade, use your dash food. At the end of your boost, release your charge jump and bounce off this tree. Then trick off the edge of this dirt patch, drift a little to the right, trick off this ledge, and get a boost from this dash panel. From that point, trick off this ramp, fly through the air for a bit, bounce on this tree, get on this wall kind of low, detach from it, and get back to the road. This can save you 1.3 seconds if your opponents take the fast path, which is still a really good time save. But if your opponents take the slower normal path, then you can get a huge time save of 2.3 seconds. It is quite tricky, as you can probably see, but it can be an essential shortcut for front running, so if you're going for that strategy, then I highly recommend you give this a bit of practice. Special thanks to MK Persian for finding this shortcut. Toad's Factory to Peach Stadium. You can use this vine to skip this massive turn. As you get up to this turn about halfway through the route, start a charge jump and release it into this wooden stake. Get onto this vine and then trick off to the right. Bump this barricade and drift to the right. Release your drift, start another charge jump and use a mushroom. Release your charge jump off of this small dirt patch, then bounce off this pole. After that, just drive in the grass and get back to the road. This is a really cool shortcut, and it can save you a massive 1.7 seconds. This shortcut is super applicable to the route you're playing, and that's because there's a great double dash food shortcut that I covered when talking about Moo Moo Meadows to Peach Stadium that can also be done on this intermission. Special thanks again to MK Persian for finding this shortcut. Toad's Factory to Choco Mountain. This super simple mushroom shortcut can save you just under a second. As you get fairly close to Choco Mountain, start a charge jump and use a mushroom into this gate. Trick right into this tree and then bounce off this tree. Then just trick off this tent and get back to the road. This is a really easy shortcut, saving you 0.8 seconds with just a single mushroom. Realistically, the shortcut isn't so big that it alone is going to win you any races. I would mostly recommend this shortcut if you have a good grip on Choco Mountain shortcuts. Toad's Factory to Mario Bros. Circuit. This insane double mushroom shortcut chain can save you just barely under 3 seconds. As you get up to this rail near Mario Bros. Circuit, start a charge jump and release it onto that rail fairly late. Trick right into this pole and then bounce off this cactus. Start a charge jump when you land, then use a mushroom into this bit of off-road. Release your charge jump at the top of the ramp, then get onto this platform and drift left. Bonk the barricade and use a mushroom across the off-road. Trick off the ledge, then start another charge jump. Aim for the little crevice in between these two stacks of tires. Then go in the off-road, release your charge jump, and somehow get on this rail. At the end of the rail, simply trick off and you're done. This is an astounding shortcut, saving 2.9 seconds and quite possibly giving you a huge lead. There were so many shortcuts on this route that I wanted to use, so many great strategies, such as not taking the helicopter in favor of getting this truck, but I think this is ultimately the best one and probably my favorite of the whole video. From this point on, there are a bunch of incredible shortcuts on Reverse Mario Bros. Circuit itself, including a couple of versions of the shroomless rail shortcut that I just mentioned. Special thanks to Wampa Rosa for finding this shortcut. Toad's Factory to Wario Stadium. You can cut off this huge off-road patch without using a single mushroom. As you go through this section with the chain chomps in the first lap, drift to the left for a moment and then drift to the right. Charge up a super mini turbo for a moment, then release it. Start a charge jump immediately, release it at the top of this ramp, then bounce off this pole and get back to the road. This shortcut saves a ton of time over going around and is great when you want to front run or shroom this intermission. More specifically, it saves 0.6 seconds over people taking this upper, faster path, but it saves 2.5 seconds over people taking the normal, slower path. There's also a much easier mushroom version, which saves 0.7 seconds over people who take the fast path and 2.75 seconds over people who take the normal path. I would recommend shrooming this intermission so you could take either version of the shortcut and be set up quite well to win. Special thanks to Yoshi MK for finding the shroomless shortcut and to TC Pie for finding a version of the mushroom shortcut. Toad's Factory to Airship Fortress. You can pull off this shroomless shortcut to save just under a second. As you leave Toad's Factory right at the start of the route, start a charge jump and start aligning yourself with this pole. Release it neutrally and bounce off the pole. After that, trick off the left side of this rock. Get onto this next rock, trick off, and get back to the road. This is a really great shortcut, saving you 0.8 seconds without requiring any items. The route to Airship Fortress doesn't have that many great shortcuts, so going straight forward with this shortcut and trying to front run for the entire race could be a very valid move. Special thanks again to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut. Toad's Factory to Bowser's Castle. This crazy double mushroom shortcut can save you more than a full second. As you get up to this spot in the first lap, start a charge jump and use a mushroom here. Release your charge jump on top of this small gap so you get good height, then use your second mushroom through this off-road. Trick off the ledge and get back to the road. This awesome shortcut saves about 1.2 seconds and is great for shrooming this intermission. Since you can also do the Toad's Factory to Airship Fortress shortcut on this intermission, and the shortcut for this intermission can be done on that intermission, and also taking into account that Airship Fortress and Bowser's Castle are pretty much the best frontrunners, I think that both of these courses would work quite well for frontrunning or light shrooming, depending on whether or not you want to take the double mushroom shortcut. Bowser's Castle to Dry Bones Burnout. This is probably the easiest shortcut in the entire game. Right at the start of the race, as you go off the glider, all you need to do is hold down on the control stick to fly upwards until you reach the ground and you're done. This looks stupidly easy, but it can actually save you a good 0.2 seconds. Plus, it can be done on every intermission going away from Bowser's Castle, so it's a good one to go for. Special thanks to Buddy for inspiring this shortcut. Bowser's Castle to Mario Circuit. You can mushroom across this cliffside to save more than 1.5 seconds. As you go through this section in the second lap, trick off this hill and start a charge jump where you land. Go towards the right and release it a little bit before the top of this next hill. After that, bounce on this pole and get on this rock. Trick off, get on the wall, detach from it, and trick in the air. Go on the lowest of these two cliffs, wait a moment, then use a mushroom, turning a little to the right. Trick off this ledge, get on the ground, trick off this rock, and get back to the road. This awesome shortcut can save you 1.7 seconds and isn't too hard to pull off. I suggest either shrooming or using the triple shroom star strategy on this intermission, as it allows you to take this shortcut and the Mario Circuit pole bounce shortcut and the Mario Circuit double shroom shortcut, while allowing you to keep a star to dodge the shock or recover or something like that. In my opinion, this shortcut works quite well for the course you're going to, which is always a good thing. Special thanks to Sekajor for finding a version of this shortcut. Bowser's Castle to Toad's Factory. This crazy dash food shortcut can save you 1.5 seconds. As you get up to this Yoshi's in the second lap, drift into it and grab this dash food. Release that drift and drift to the right. Release a blue mini turbo and start a charge jump. Use your dash food and release your charge jump at the top of this rock. Fly through the air, then get on this ledge, drive in it for a sec, trick off, and you're done. This shortcut can save you about 1.5 seconds and is actually pretty easy. This intermission is probably best for just straight front running, as you can use this shortcut to keep your lead as you get to Toad's Factory. This shortcut can also be done early on in the Moon Rally, so it's great for that. And you can even do a slightly more difficult shroomless version that I showcased on Airship Fortress to Toad's Factory. Special thanks to the Traveling Rover for finding this shortcut. Bowser's Castle to Choco Mountain. This really simple double mushroom shortcut can save you more than 2 seconds. As you get up to this section in the second lap, start a charge jump and then release it into this pole. Use a mushroom and start another charge jump when you land. Use another mushroom, release your charge jump into this tree and get back to the road. This awesome shortcut saves 2.2 seconds and is really easy to master. I think the shortcut also works well strategically because you can use it to stay ahead for Choco Mountain while keeping a mushroom for a shortcut on Choco Mountain. You can also do this shortcut shroomless, which is great but also super difficult. As you get up to the same section as before, start a charge jump or release it into this other pole. Then go towards this rock and trick off specifically the middle section of it. The other sections just won't work for some reason. Then bounce off this tree, then this next tree, and then this pole. Get on the wall, then quickly trick off of it. Bounce off these two close trees, turn hard left, bounce off this tree, and get back to the road. This is a super difficult shortcut, but it has a great time save of 1.3 seconds. As I said, it's very, very, very difficult. There are many ways to fail it, but it is a super effective shortcut, so I recommend you practice it. I think this shortcut works best for shrooming, as you can use the double mushroom shortcut and have a mushroom left over for a shortcut on Choco Mountain, which works even better than it normally would because this version of Choco Mountain does not have a few of the large chocolate piles that are on regular Choco Mountain, which I think makes bagging a lot less powerful. Plus, on this intermission, you can also do the shortcut I showcased on Wario Stadium to Choco Mountain, which is just smashing spotted tea and crumpets. Governor. Special thanks to Cadence MK for inspiring this shortcut and finding the shroomless version. Bowser's Castle to Wario Stadium. This shortcut on reverse Wario Stadium can easily save you more than half a second. As you get right up to the end of the last lap, turn to the right and trick off this ramp onto the wall. Get on the rail, wait a moment, then trick off onto this next rail. The rail curves, so after that, trick on the rail. Wait a moment, trick off neutrally, turn pretty hard left, and get back to the road. This shortcut saves 0.7 seconds and is a fairly easy time save. The timing of tricking off the first rail onto the second is a bit difficult, so I recommend you practice that a bit, but overall it's a great shortcut and can save you some good time quite easily. This intermission is probably best for shrooming, as there are many really good mushroom shortcuts on this route, including this shortcut that I showcased on Drybone's Burnout to Wario Stadium. Special thanks to Liam for showcasing this shortcut. Bowser's Castle to Airship Fortress. This double mushroom shortcut can save you a full second. Special thanks to MK Persian for finding this shortcut. As you pass Big Donut in the first lap, start a charge jump and aim for this pole. Release it into the pole and get on the ground. Quickly drift to the right, then start a charge jump and use a mushroom. Charge jump into this pole, turn to the left and get on the ground. Turn to the right, start a charge jump and use a mushroom. Finally, release your charge jump here and get back to the road. This is a really cool shortcut, saving you 1 full second and setting you up well for Airship Fortress. I say that it sets you up well because there aren't that many great shortcuts before Airship Fortress, so using this shortcut and then running straight afterwards can be a great strategy, especially with all the shortcuts Airship Fortress has. Acorn Heights to Boo Cinema! This crazy shortcut chain can save you a massive 4 seconds. As you enter the Ghost Valley section in lap 2, drift to the right for a sec, release a blue mini turbo and start a charge jump. Release a neutral charge jump and bounce off this tree. Bounce off this next tree, then get on the boardwalk and trick into the right side of this pole. Turn to the left, bounce off this next pole, get on this wall and detach back onto the boardwalk. After driving through the course as normal, start a charge jump before getting to these 2 points. Release a right charge jump into this pole, turn towards this tree, hit this tree at this monumentally precise point, get a weird clip bounce trick off of it, bounce off this next tree, and get back to the road. This insane shortcut chain can save 4 full seconds, all without using any items whatsoever. It is super difficult. I know it's incredibly easy to fail, but it all comes with practice, and if you do practice it a bit, then I think both parts of it can actually become pretty consistent. In fact, I got pretty consistent at this part all while just filming for this video. Like, these are all different clips that I got mostly in a row. I think this course is either a shroomer or a runner, as there are some good mushroom shortcuts you should learn. It depends a bit on whether you'd want to slow down for shrooms or just gamble on getting them in an early set in the front of the pack. I always feel super cool when I just say a bunch of Mario Kart lingo. Yeah, you just you triple shroom star or bag, so and then you chain your mega through this set so you can item smuggle and try and get shock in pocket. Yeah. But yes, all in all, fantastic shortcut. It is no small wonder why this is often regarded as the literal best intermission out of them all. Special thanks to Astral Nick for showcasing the first shortcut and to John for showcasing the second shortcut. Acorn Heights to Dandelion Depth. This crazy shortcut can save you more than 2 full seconds. As you go over this waterfall at the start of the course, get over to the right and trick off these 2 rocks. Use a mushroom and start a charge jump when you reach the ground. At the end of your boost, release your charge jump and get back to the water. This shortcut is really simple, but it can save you a massive 2.2 seconds. Although there is a case to be made for bagging this intermission, I think shrooming is probably the best strategy, since you can take this shortcut and hopefully have 1 mushroom for a blue shell dodge and 1 mushroom for the opening shortcut of Dandelion Depths. Plus, one cool thing about this intermission is that you might be able to get some stray items that have popped out of the bubbles, including a superstar, so you can use those to make your lead even more dominant. Special thanks to Daymare for finding a version of this shortcut. Acorn Heights to Mario Circuit. This dash food shortcut can save you a full second. Right at the start of the race, after your rocket start, go over to the left and grab this dash food. Then, as you get up to this section in lap 2, start a charge jump and go towards this grass patch. Release your charge jump into the off-road and use your dash food. Trick left shortly after touching this rail, then get on this wall. Get a boosted detach, trick in the air, and get back to the road. This shortcut is fairly simple, but can save you 1 full second. It is a bit tricky and precise, but if you practice it a bit, I think it can become pretty consistent. It's important to remember that this intermission has you play all 3 laps of Mario Circuit, so this route is probably just a bagger or shroomer, but if you can get a good lead on the route itself, then it could probably be a fairly decent front runner. Special thanks to Sweetie Breezy for finding this shortcut. Acorn Heights to Toad's Factory. This simple mushroom shortcut can save you a full second. As you get up to this spot near the start of the race, start a charge jump and release it into this wooden lantern. When you land, use a mushroom and start a charge jump. Release it into this plant, go in the off-road, and get back to the road. This is a pretty easy shortcut, but it can save you 1 full second, which is quite a good amount of time. You can also do this shortcut with dash food to still save 0.7 seconds. Right at the start of the race, go over to the right and grab this dash food. Then, in the same section as the mushroom shortcut, start a charge jump and release it into this plant thing. When you land, start a charge jump, then use your dash food. Release the charge jump, bounce off this plant, then this plant, get in the off-road, and get back to the road. This shortcut saves 0.7 seconds and can be quite a valuable shortcut for front runners. Special thanks to Toby NKW for finding both of these shortcuts. He's been working on a Mario Kart World Pro Guide series on his channel, and it's really good, so I recommend you check that out if you can. Acorn Heights to Dry Bones Burnout. You can save almost 2 seconds by launching yourself over this wall. Special thanks to TC Pie for finding this shortcut. After you pass this item set, as you get pretty close to Dry Bones Burnout, start a charge jump and go near this large pole. You want to get a little bit of distance between yourself and this candle. Use your mushroom, release a right charge jump into this pole and get over this wall. Trick off this patch of off-road and get back to the road. This is an awesome shortcut, saving 1.9 seconds with only one mushroom, as well as just being incredibly fun to pull off. This shortcut is very easy to fail, as it's quite difficult to get on top of the wall, so I suggest you watch my clip of it a few times in order to make sure you have the right lines and everything. All in all though, it's a great shortcut and can put you in a very good place for dry bones burnouts. Mario Circuit to Acorn Height. This single mushroom shortcut can save you a full second. As you get up to this section in the first lap, start a charge jump and turn to the left towards this tree stump. Keep turning left as you get on the stump, then release a left charge jump onto this tree. Quickly trick off the tree, turn fairly hard left, and clip this next tree. Use a mushroom when you get to the grass, trick off this ledge, go in the off-road, and get back to the road. This is a very tricky shortcut, but it can save you one full second, so it's probably worth learning. You have to get incredibly precise lines in order to even have a chance at getting it, so it'll absolutely take some practice. I tend to aim a little bit to the left of this jutty-outy part on the stump, and then aim right at the spot where the color of this tree goes from dark to light. Even if you memorize where you're supposed to go, this shortcut is by no means consistent, but nonetheless, if you are reasonably good at it, then I think this is still a great shortcut for front running, as long as you can get a mushroom right at the start, since being in the front will help you avoid whatever chaos is going on in the back. Special thanks to Sweetie Breezy and Toby MKW for finding versions of this shortcut. Sweetie Breezy actually has a shroomless version of this shortcut on her channel, which is so difficult I could not get it even a single time, so if you'd like to check that out, I'll leave the link in the description. Mario Circuit to Boo Cinema. You can save more than 2 seconds with this crazy shortcut chain. As you get up to this turn in the first lap, drift to the left for a few moments, then start a charge jump. Mushroom through the left side of this fence, then release a left charge jump and clip this wall really weirdly. Then start a charge jump and release it onto the road. Then just a few moments later, after the item set, start a charge jump, release it, and bounce off this tree. When you land, use a mushroom and start another charge jump. Release the charge jump into this tree, then bounce off this next tree and get back to the road. This shortcut saves a massive 2.1 seconds and is fantastic for front running this intermission. This shortcut is a little bit tricky, especially this first part, which at first glance seems extremely inconsistent, but it actually becomes a lot easier if you remember to charge jump a bit further to the left than you naturally think that you should. That allows you to clip the wall better so you get more height and get closer to the road. Front running is absolutely the right move on this intermission, as there are so many item boxes, including on the backs of these buses. It is incredibly likely that you'll be able to get triple shrooms before the items return to their normal distribution. I suggest you use the double mushroom shortcut chain, then keep an extra mushroom for a blue shell dodge. Plus, if you want to get to the front of the pack right at the start of the race, then you can use this single mushroom shortcut to save a little under a second. Special thanks to Art Gamer and Toby MKW for finding the 2 parts of this shortcut. Mario Circuit to Starview Peak. This really cool shortcut can save you just under a second. As you get up to this section near the middle of the race, go up to the edge of the road and trick off. Trick off this ramp, then start a charge jump when you land. Use a mushroom aiming for this rock. At the peak of the rock, trick to the left. Get on the wall fairly late, quickly trick off, hit this pipe, and get back to the road. This is a great shortcut, saving you 0.8 seconds with just 1 mushroom. You can also do this dash food shortcut later on in the intermission to save just a little less time. Perhaps it's better to save your dash food for the normal Starview Peak shortcut, but in doing that, you are really risking having it be shocked out of you. This way, you can use up your dash food before a potential shock without simply wasting it. Plus, you can grab the dash food right after doing the mushroom shortcut, so you can do both of these shortcuts if you wanted to. Special thanks to Yosh Alamo for finding the mushroom shortcut. Mario Circuit to Dandelion Depths. This simple dash food shortcut can save you almost 1.5 seconds. As you get up to this Yoshi's in the first lap, start a charge jump and head towards the dash food. Grab some, release a left charge jump and bonk this pole. Then get on this rail, trick left into the pole, hit this tree, get in the off-road, wait a sec, use your dash food, and you're done. This shortcut saves a massive 1.4 seconds and is incredible for front running this intermission. It's very fast paced, so it can be pretty easy to mess up. Plus, these charge and chucks won't be of great assistance to you, but with a bit of practice, I think it can become quite consistent overall. Plus, it can also be done on Mario Circuit to Starview Peak, so it is great for that too. Plus, you can also use this non-dash food version to still save 0.9 seconds. Special thanks to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut, and to Gaming with Geonch for finding the no item version. Mario Circuit to Moo Moo Meadows. This cow bounce shortcut can save you 1.5 seconds. As you go through this glider section as you get close to Moo Moo Meadows, go through this second glider ring and start turning right. Tilt the vehicle up a little bit, aiming for this cow. Then bounce on the cow and get in the off-road. Start a charge jump, wait, then use a mushroom. At the end of your boost, release your charge jump and get on this rail. Quickly trick to the left and get back to the road. This shortcut saves 1.5 seconds, and beyond that, it's just plain old fun. In terms of strategy for this intermission, you have a variety of options. You could hard bag and just not use this shortcut at all. You could light bag and use this shortcut to catch up near the end, or you could front run and simply use this shortcut to retain your lead. The strategy I'd probably recommend is front running, as there are a lot of great shortcuts even outside of this one, including this shortcut that I showcase on Choco Mountain to Moo Moo Meadows. Front running does seem to be quite a good strategy here, even though Moo Moo Meadows itself is typically considered a bagger. Mario Circuit to Peach Stadium. This massive shortcut chain can save you just under 3 seconds. After you pass this item set right at the start of the race, trick off this hill and start a charge jump when you land. Use a mushroom into the off-road, then release your charge jump. Trick off this wooden ramp, then start another charge jump upon landing. Use another mushroom and turn hard right. Release a right charge jump and get back to the road. This cuts off 2 giant off-road patches and saves you right about 2.8 seconds, which is absolutely huge. This shortcut actually isn't very difficult if you practice it a few times. The main difficulty comes in actually remembering what you're supposed to be doing. So as long as you know the actual parts of the shortcut, then even if you're not super proficient at it, you should be able to execute it pretty well. And the chain can actually be done on a bunch of intermissions going from Mario Circuit, so it's a pretty important one to know. This shortcut works really well for front running, since you can get triple mushrooms in first place and use 2 of them to break away from the pack. But Ben, you handsome man, I hear you say. What if you only get 1 mushroom from the first item set? Which shortcut should you go for? Which one is faster? Well, to answer that question, the second shortcut is faster. Mario Circuit to Toad's Factory. You can cut off this giant off-road section with just a single mushroom. Near the start of the race, as you get up to this turn, start a charge jump and release it onto this rail. Then trick off the rail into this specific pole. Get in the off-road and trick off this little grass patch. After driving in the off-road for a sec, start a charge jump and use a mushroom. Then release your charge jump into this tree and get back to the road. This shortcut saves 1.6 seconds and isn't actually as difficult as it looks. It is a great front-running shortcut, not to mention the fact that it looks dope as all heck. Special thanks again to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut. My gosh, Toby is cleaning up in this video. Mario Circuit to Bowser's Castle. This double mushroom shortcut can save you more than a full second. Special thanks again to Art Gamer for finding this shortcut. As you get up to this spot in the second lap, start a charge jump, turn to the left, and use a mushroom into the off-road. Jump off of this rock, trick to the left in the air, and bounce off this tree. When you get to the ground, use a mushroom and drift to the left around this corner. Then release your drift and get back to the road. This shortcut can save you 1.2 seconds and is excellent for front running this intermission. I do think front running is probably the best strategy on this intermission, as you do have a few chances to get triple mushrooms, and you can then take this shortcut to give you a lead, which is pretty much always the best strategy when going to Bowser's Castle. I say pretty much always because it depends on whether or not you're good at Bowser's Castle, which I am not. Yay! Mario Circuit to Dry Bones Burnout. This massive shortcut can save you more than 3 seconds. As you pass this item set, as you get very close to Dry Bones Burnout, start a charge jump and use a mushroom into the off-road. Release your charge jump at the peak of this off-road patch, drive in the off-road for a second, and you have just saved yourself more than 3 seconds. Yes, this amazing shortcut saves 3.2 seconds and is so simple that it's pretty much always worth going for. The only small tricky bit is making sure you don't release your charge jump too late, lose all your momentum, and look like a big dum-dum boy. But that's pretty easy to avoid as long as you remember to release your charge jump slightly earlier than you naturally think you should. Other than that, it's genuinely quite easy, which is amazing for a shortcut that saves about the same amount of time as the Bowser's Castle turn skill. I think this shortcut absolutely blows bagging out of the water on this intermission. As long as shock doesn't get used as you're doing this shortcut, then you could be in a fantastic position efficient. Plus, even if you do get shocked, dry bones burnout is decently comebackable. In conclusion, this shortcut works so well for this intermission, and I think it can set you up for some fairly easy wins on dry bones burnout. Plus, this shortcut can also be done on Moo Moo Meadows for dry bones burnout, which is pretty darn tootin' cool. Special thanks again to Toby MKW for finding a version of this shortcut. Peach Stadium to Moo Moo Meadows. This crazy dash food shortcut can save you more than 1.5 seconds. Firstly, as you get up to the start of the second lap, turn to the left onto this hidden path, go over to this Yoshi's and grab this dash food. This is second tier dash food, so its boost is equal to that of a mushroom. Then as you get up to this turn in Moo Moo Meadows, drift to the left but don't get a mini turbo. Quickly drift to the right, start a charge jump turning hard right and use your dash food. Release a right charge jump, bonk this tree and get back to the road. This insane shortcut can save you 1.6 seconds and is fantastic for front running this intermission. It's quite difficult, especially in the setup, as you can easily mess up the timing of your drifts and the charge jump and stuff, but I think it definitely comes with practice, and knowing it can be incredibly helpful for front running this intermission. You could, of course, do this shortcut with a mushroom instead of dash food, but that would be stupid because dash food is fun and mushrooms are lame and boring. I think running is almost definitely the optimal strategy for this intermission, and this shortcut is like 90% of the reason why. Special thanks to ArchGamer and Sweetie Breezy for finding versions of this shortcut. ArchGamer recently started a Knockout Tour Pro Guide series, and it seems like it's gonna be fantastic, so I'll leave a link in the description if you'd like to check it out. Peach Stadium to Cheap Falls. This triple mushroom shortcut can save you more than 2 seconds. As you get up to this spot near the start of the race, start a charge jump and drive into this dash panel. Release a neutral charge jump into this pole, then turn left in the air. After landing, start a charge jump and use a mushroom. Release your charge jump and trick off this toad hat. Turn a bit to the left in the air, get on the ground, then start a charge jump and use your mushroom. Release your charge jump and bounce off this tree. After you land, start another charge jump and use a mushroom towards this faraway tree. Release it, bounce off the tree, and get back to the road. This awesome shortcut saves 2.1 seconds over using triple mushrooms normally, and actually isn't all that difficult. The only real bad thing about it is that it heavily relies on you getting triple mushrooms at the first item set, so you're kind of stuck if you don't. But fortunately, there is a single mushroom shortcut that still saves 1.3 seconds. As you get up to the same area as before, start a charge jump, release it to the left, and bounce off this pole. Bounce off this tree, then bounce off the very left edge of this pipe. This shortcut only works if you kind of trick the game into thinking that you're bouncing off the side of the pipe, because it won't let you bounce off the top. When you land, start a charge jump and release it onto this specific point on the wall. Detach from the wall, turn left, trick in the air, and bounce off this tree. Clip the toad house, bounce off this tree, and turn left in the air. Start a charge jump and use a mushroom, then release your charge jump, bounce on this tree, and get back to the road. This shortcut saves 1.3 seconds and is especially good if you're not able to get triple mushrooms right away. This shortcut is much trickier than the other one, and there's many points at which you can fail it, but if you practice it while copying the lines I take, then I think it can actually become quite consistent. Special thanks to Luigi for finding this shortcut, and to Input15 for finding the single mushroom version. Peach Stadium to Faraway Oasis. This insane double mushroom shortcut can save you more than 2 seconds. As you get up to the start of the second lap, start a charge jump and release it into this pole. Start another charge jump when you land and release it to the left off of this rock. Start a third charge jump and use a mushroom upon landing, then release a right charge jump off this rock and bounce off this tree. Get on this cliff and then trick off of it. Get on the ground, then start a charge jump and use a mushroom towards this tree. Release your charge jump and bounce off the exact middle of the tree. Then bounce off this pole and get on the off-road. Get on this rock, then trick off of it. Then just make your way back to the road and you're done. This is a great shortcut, saving you 2.2 seconds while only requiring 2 mushrooms. Since it's a fairly long shortcut, there are many places you can fail, some of which could be pretty aggravating. Like, I don't know, when you're in the middle of your best run of the shortcut yet, with basically no mistakes made, and then suddenly a fire piranha plant comes along and decides to ruin everything. But overall, it's a really good shortcut and is very fun to pull off. As I often do, I recommend front running this intermission and trying to get triple mushrooms in order to take this shortcut, although it's not the end of the world if you can't get that item, since you can use this easy single mushroom shortcut to still save 1.2 seconds. Special thanks to Icy Revolution MKW and Maze Gaming for finding parts of the main shortcut, and to Mario Kart World for finding the mushroom shortcut. Plus, if you want to learn how to do a really cool shortcut that is so mind-bogglingly difficult I have absolutely no idea how to do it, then go watch this video by Flying Cats. It's a really in-depth video, so I hope you check it out. Peach Stadium to Koopa Troopa Beach. This crazy feather shortcut can save you more than half a second. As you get up to this split path section, take the right path. Then as you get up to this turn, start a charge jump and aim for this orange buoy. Release it into the buoy, get onto this block, trick off, use your feather, get over the gap, and get back to the water. This shortcut saves a good 0.6 seconds and feels really fun to pull off. It is really tricky, not to mention wildly inconsistent, as seemingly small mistakes can lead to massive consequences, but if you practice it, I guess it should get at least a bit easier. There is an itemless version, but that is even more difficult and even more inconsistent, so I would probably not recommend going for it in races. But nonetheless, they are both really cool shortcuts and show that frontrunning is actually maybe somewhat kinda sorta viable on this intermission. Special thanks to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut. Dang, I've said that a lot this year. Special thanks to Toby MKW for finding this shortcut, and to Input15 for finding the shroomless version. Peach Stadium to Crown City. This really complex shortcut chain is essential for this intermission. Special thanks to Bolt for finding this shortcut. As you get to Crown City, drift into this right section and mini turbo trick off this ramp. Land on this platform and trick onto this rail. Quickly trick off the rail, then trick off this next ramp. Get on this roof and trick off this ramp. Keep driving and trick off this other ramp. Then trick off the roof altogether, wait a sec, and start a charge jump. Release it to the right into the middle of these two stone dividers thingies. Trick off the wall onto this rail, then trick left off the rail. Get on the ground, then start a charge jump and release it onto this new rail. Trick left onto the rail again, trick neutrally, then trick to the right off the rail. Bounce off this pole, then trick off this glider. Fly downwards until you get a boost from this dash panel and you're done. This is an insane shortcut chain and it's fairly rewarding as well, putting you ahead 0.5 seconds. It is quite tricky, and it'd be fair to ask, hey, why would you even attempt such intricate tech if it only saves you 0.5 seconds? And my answer is, it's cool! But seriously, a time save is a time save, and since this is one of the most popular intermission picks in competitive lounge, not learning this shortcut could have dire consequences when you play it. I'd say this route is a front runner, as you can get a good lead and then use all the necessary shortcuts to keep that lead. Plus, you can use this shortcut that I showcased on Moo Moo Meadows to Crown City to further increase or keep your lead right at the end of the race. Also, did you know you could get up here? Like on the top of the tunnel section? That's pretty cool. Peach Stadium to Choco Mountain. You can do this double mushroom shortcut to save more than 2.5 seconds. As you get up to this section in the first lap, start a charge jump and release it onto this rail. Trick to the right into this pole and then hit this tree. When you land, use a mushroom and start a charge jump, then release it and trick off this toad house. Start another charge jump, use another mushroom, release your charge jump and get back to the road. This insane shortcut saves you 2.6 seconds and can give you a huge lead at the start of the race. There's also a single mushroom version of this shortcut which still saves a massive 1.8 seconds. As you get up to the same spot as before, start a charge jump and release it onto this rail. Trick right, bonk this pole, and bonk this tree. Don't turn too hard to the right and then start a charge jump when you land. Wait a sec, release it, and trick off this ramp. When you land, use your mushroom and start a charge jump, release it, and get back to the road. Yep, this saves almost 2 seconds and isn't super difficult to pull off either. There's also a bullet bill version of this shortcut which saves 2.6 to 2.8 seconds depending on your placement when using the bill, but it's not really practical since a bullet bill can't normally be drawn this early in the race. Still, it's definitely a fun shortcut and can still be used when using custom items in case you want to completely obliterate your friends with a dope shortcut. In terms of strategy for this intermission, I think the best one is maybe front running. I know Choco Mountain is a bagger generally, but it can be one if you have a big enough lead, and that's exactly what this shortcut helps you to get. Ultimately, it's up to you what you decide to go for, but I would give front running this intermission a try once or twice. Special thanks to the Traveling Rover, Radiant Glow, and Luigi for finding versions of this shortcut, as well as Input 15 for finding the single mushroom version, and Icy Revolution MKW for finding the Bullet Bill version. Peach Stadium to Toad's Factory. This massive shortcut can save you more than 6 full seconds. Special thanks to Bolt for finding this shortcut, and to Umbreon360 for finding the double dash food version. Right at the start of the race in the plaza of Peach Stadium, grab at least one of these 2 dash food bags. Then as you enter the second lap, go over to the left and grab this truck. Take the truck through the middle of the road, then drive it through these flower beds. Keep driving for a moment, then as the truck starts to run out, start turning to the left. Then, once the truck spits you out, aim for this rock and trick off of it. Drive through the off-road for a few moments, then drift to the left. Start a charge jump and align yourself with the second moo on the moo moo milk sign. Use your dash food, release your charge jump, bounce on this pole, fly over to this tractor, trick off the tractor, trick off this rock, and get back to the road. This amazing shortcut saved 6.3 seconds for me without using any mushrooms, certifying it as one of the absolute best intermission shortcuts, as well as one of the best shortcuts in the entire game. Plus, other people have found it to save even more time, so it could probably be optimized beyond my clip. It can be a little tricky in multiple areas, such as getting on top of this tractor or tricking off this rock correctly, but this is quite a popular intermission, so I really suggest you learn this. But Ben, you intelligent, dashing fellow, I hear you say. The truck doesn't just stay there. Once somebody else gets it, it's gone. How in the gee-whizzing fudgesicles am I supposed to save time if somebody else gets to the truck before me? Well, I'm glad you asked, because you can also do this double dash route shortcut to still save a massive 3.6 seconds. At the start of the race, make sure you grab both dash food bags from these 2 stations. Then, as you get up to this spot just after the start of the second lap, turn to the left and trick off this flower bed. Start a charge jump when you land, then use your dash food and release a left charge jump off this rock. Then bounce off this pole, then this tree, then this second tree. Start another charge jump, turn hard left, use your dash food and release a left charge jump into this cow. Start another charge jump when you land, then release it and trick off this rock. Trick off this next rock and get back to the road. This fantastic shortcut saves 3.6 seconds, is a great alternative to the truck shortcut, and I would say it's quite a bit easier than the truck shortcut. I suggest front running this intermission, and I have a very specific strategy that I think might work quite well. Start out running, and after the first item set, if you get triple mushrooms, a single mushroom, a boo, or a star, keep those, maybe grab 1 extra dash food, and get to the truck any way you can. If you don't have any of those 4 items, then ditch whatever item you did get, and instead grab 2 dash food items to take the dash food cut, because although you should still try to get the truck, realistically, you're probably not gonna get there ahead of other people with triple mushrooms and stuff like that. I like how I'm being so adamant about this strategy when I just have no hard evidence that it actually works. Like, it's all just speculation. Yeah, so just do that strategy and it'll work 100% of the time and you'll win. It does not matter if somebody else is using the exact same strategy as you. You're gonna win. Congrats! Peach Stadium to Rainbow Road. Yes, this intermission does indeed have a shortcut. In fact, it has 3. The first shortcut is found by the Traveling Rover and saves 0.1 seconds. This is a super simple shortcut right at the start of the race as you fly through the air. Trick off this platform, but then don't trick off this platform. Trick in the air, get a boost from the dash panel, start a charge jump on the ground, release it as the angle of the ground changes, and you're done. This shortcut may only save 0.1 seconds, but it is incredibly easy. Yes, it may only save a small amount of time, but can you think of any good reason to not go for it? This is a really cool shortcut that I don't think many people know about, so it can be a really good one to go for. Special thanks to the Traveling Rover for finding this shortcut. This next shortcut is found by TCPie and saved 0.6 seconds for me. It saved more for TCPie apparently. I don't know why time saves are so different, but hey, you might be able to save way more. As you get up to this section near the start of Rainbow Road, trick off this first ramp, then this second ramp, and then use your bullet. The bullet will extend past its normal range and take you up all the way over this turn and everything. At the end, just get spat up by the bullet and you're done. This bullet bill extension saves 0.6 seconds over using a bullet normally, but obviously it saves way more over people who aren't using a bullet. You may ask how this actually counts as an intermission shortcut and not just a Rainbow Road shortcut, and I don't want to have to bring up boring nerd statistics with Ben again, but basically in regular Rainbow Road it is impossible to get a bullet bill this early in the race. This means that this shortcut is actually exclusive to the Peach Stadium to Rainbow Road intermission, which is what makes it an intermission shortcut, at least in my and TC Pie's mind. Also, this shortcut isn't just fast, it protects you from potential shock, which is actually surprisingly common in this area. Special thanks to TC Pie for finding this shortcut. Not only are there those two shortcuts in this intermission, by the way, hashtag bullet bill breakaway, there's also the one final shortcut of the series found by Bolt, which saves 0.7 seconds. As you reach the glorious entrance of Rainbow Road, drift to the right, aiming to land just to the right of this large pillar. Then release a mini turbo, use your feather, and get back to the road. This shortcut saves 0.7 seconds and can be excellent for front running. I think front running is probably the best move on this intermission, as you can try to get triple mushrooms, then build an initial lead with this shortcut and a couple of your mushrooms. Then after that, you can try to get a feather to take this shortcut. But if you can't get a lead, you can always slow down a little and try to get a bullet bill for this shortcut, which you can also get at this second set here. Special thanks to Bolt for finding this shortcut, and special thanks to the 3 creators who found the 3 final shortcuts. Well, that is one shortcut for every intermission done. I can't believe we finally did it. We found one shortcut for every single intermission. This was a fantastic series to put together, but fun fact, it originally wasn't going to be a series. Yeah, it being a series was my dad and mum's idea, not mine. I remember when I was originally coming up with it, it was just going to be the one big video with all the shortcuts in it, and while that would have been fine, I guess, I would have had barely any interaction with you guys. Nobody would have been sending in shortcuts every week, and I probably wouldn't have even made the hashtag. But as it is, this has been such an amazing journey. I really want to thank everybody who contributed to the series in any way. Some of you just watch the videos, and I absolutely thank you for that. Some of you have supported me over on Patreon or YouTube, like these people here. Thank you all so much. It means a lot that you're willing to pay me money just because you like what I do, so thank you again. But I want to give an extra special shout out to everybody who contributed to the intermission revolution. There were more than 60 channels who sent in shortcuts, many of whom had their entire channel based around it. I'll probably do some kind of credits thing soon enough with, everybody's names, cascading down the screen or to the side or something like that, and Rainbow Road in the background maybe. That would be a lot of work though, so for now, I just want to say thank you. This series would have gone absolutely nowhere without you guys. There was no way I would have been able to do it on my own. It just means a lot that you've put so much effort into helping the public see intermissions in a better light. And I really do think that we have done that, at least to an extent. Like, I don't think I was expecting everybody to just see the videos and be like, well, guess we were wrong. Guess intermissions are great. But nonetheless, as I finish up this series and I look back at all that we've done, it's hard to think that we haven't made a difference. We have all made more than 1,000 intermission shortcut videos, and just so you know, the revolution is not over, so there will be more, and I'm sure that to an extent, at least a little bit, we have changed the public perception of intermissions and of Mario Kart World as a whole. Oh, sorry, yeah, that's not the end. I know it would have been a decent enough end, probably, but I have something way better.